Welcome, one and all, to a very special edition of a Sunday night edition, as a matter of fact, of Pacific414 Pop Talk. I am your host, Mike, and tonight I figured I would touch on a few more articles that came out later on this past week instead of waiting till Wednesday when the news would already be old, and, just have a nice Sunday night stream. What do you say about that? I may have a few people joining me later on this evening, depending on their schedules, but we shall see. But I hope you're all doing well this Sunday evening or late Sunday afternoon, or who knows, it could even be Monday morning where you are. Wherever you are, welcome one and all, and thank you for stopping by. So let's go ahead and get down to the first order of business here on this edition of Pop Talk. And sorry, still a little tired from last night's All Elite Wrestling Full Gear pay-per-view post show that I did along with Keen Phoenix and Quidman Jenkins. And Quidman Jenkins is my co-host of Over the Barricade podcast over on Twitch. And you can actually download Friday's podcast right now on Amazon Music and Spotify. So it looks like we're going to be getting another remake, because that seems to be all that Hollywood does anymore, are remakes after remakes after remakes. And, this isn't a new trend. It's a rather old trend. Classic movies have been remade over and over and over and over and over again. And honestly, it has gotten to the point where I think Hollywood's just out of ideas. Well, I shouldn't say I think Hollywood's out of ideas. They are out of ideas. And as you can see, this article is coming out of Bounding into Comics, and it is by Spencer Bacall. So let's go ahead and get into it, shall we? It says MGM reportedly in talks with desired lead actor and director for Roadhouse remake. The classic Patrick Swayze film Roadhouse is going to be remade. I'll stick with the classic. Just going to say that right now. But it says it's time to brush up on James Dalton's 3 simple rules for patronizing the Double Deuce, as a new report claims that MGM's planned remake of Roadhouse is in talks to secure both its director and lead actor. It says, as allegedly detailed to Deadline by their sources and subsequently reported by the trade news outlets in a November 10th exclusive, MGM is currently in talks with Jake Gyllenhaal to have the Spider-Man Far From Home stars step into the role of Dalton, the protagonist of the action movie classic originally portrayed by Patrick Swayze. Okay. Well, Gyllenhaal isn't really a bad actor. I don't know. This is just me, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you all. But once you see certain actors in certain movies and certain roles, and they performed in that movie very well, it's hard to see anyone else playing that character. But anyways, let's continue with the article. It says Deadline sources also told them that the studio is in talks with Doug Liman, whose credits include The Bourne Identity and Edge of Tomorrow, to have him serve as the remake's director. It says further, outside of these apparent talks with Gyllenhaal and Lyman, little is known about the film's production, so much so that it's unknown whether it's a straight remake or a modern take on the material. And it's also unknown if Gyllenhaal will be playing the role of Dalton or play a completely new character in that world. Originally released in 1989, Roadhouse follows the story of professional bouncer James Dalton, who was hired by Club Missouri owner Frank Tilghman to help refine the image of his establishment, the Double Deuce. However, upon his arrival to the Show Me Stare, the New York transplant soon, Show Me State, sorry. The New York transplant soon finds himself in the crosshairs of Brad Wesley, a corrupt businessman who extorts local business and seeks to have Dalton work for him. Refusing to take Wesley's criminal actions lying down, Dalton proceeds to wage a one-man war in defense of his friends and local community, ultimately taking down his would-be employer in a fatal one-on-one confrontation. And I'll wait for this ad to go away. It's the only thing I really hate when you're trying to read an article and an ad shows up. Oh, hey, welcome, Godzillionaire. Welcome. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate everybody who stops by, even if you're just lurking. Thank you very much, Godzillionaire. Really appreciate it. But it says, as of writing, neither Gyllenhaal nor Lyman's involvement have been confirmed by associated parties. What do you make of these Roadhouse remake production rumors? Let us know your thoughts on social media or in the comments below. Well, right now, to be honest, I'm going to say all they are rumors. There's no real concrete evidence stating that the film is actually in production, that the film's actually going to be made. It's just rumors that Gyllenhaal and Lyman are going to be involved in this so-called remake, and we'll just have to wait and see. Now, do I think the movie's going to do well? I don't know. Let's see if it actually gets made first before we start speculating whether it's going to do well and be a good movie, or if it's going to be another remake that falls the past glory that a movie like Roadhouse once had. I really don't know, folks. If I had a crystal ball to tell you, is a Roadhouse sequel, a Roadhouse remake going to work? I don't know. Well, hello, Alan Copeland, for you are here. I have nothing to fear now. Ha ha ha. All right. You'll have to excuse me, Alan. That's my All Might impression. But yes, and speaking of anime, I was talking with King Phoenix and Quidman Jenkins last night, both during our AEW Full Gear post show that we did, and it was late. The three of us were tired, so admittedly, we did rush through it because the three of us were tired. It had been a long day, and we didn't know how long we would last. But I have spoken with them, and one of the ideas that we came up with is, since they're more familiar with anime and all its tropes than I am, especially since I'm just getting into anime, we thought it would be a great idea for a future episode of Pop Talk to be a discussion about anime. And King Phoenix also mentioned to me that his cousin is also into anime. So if you all want to see a future episode of Pop Talk where the whole discussion is anime and only anime, let me know. And all right, thank you, Alan. Thank you, thank you. And one of my guests has indeed arrived. Who are you, sir? Why are you here?
Well, I'm here to help out the family, we gotta stick together. I had my boys go take care of some business, so.
Yeah, good, good. You always gotta make sure you look out for the family. So let me quickly get you up to speed. It's good to see you, Common Sense. Great to see you as always, brother.
Same here.
So what I was just talking about, let me just scroll back up here. so you can see, is apparently there's a new rumor going around that MGM is in talks with director and lead actor to do a Roadhouse remake.
Are you trying to make me vomit? I just got done eating dinner. Are you trying to make me vomit right now?
No, sir, that is not my intention.
Oh God, why? The first Roadhouse. Oh Lord. Oh.
Roadhouse.
Why? No, 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 no.
Is that your final answer?
Yes. Feyen Helvetach.
I mean, I suppose if the story is good, and that's a big if. It might
More
have potential.
remakes.
Yeah. Even with Jake Gyllenhaal and
I don't know. It's the Swayze. It's the Swayze. You're gonna
Yeah.
disrespect the Swayze with a remake?
Well, Godzillionaire has an idea. Make Danny McBride the lead of the new Roadhouse movie.
No, I mean if you're gonna do that, you might as well just get Will Ferrell in there and Andy Samberg at that point, because there's no way I could take Danny McBride actually seriously in that role. There's no way on God's green earth.
Nah. I mean, he was good in Eastbound and Down.
I've never even heard of it. Never heard of it, but I mean, I'm sticking to what I said. Here's okay. Big problem with all this horse shit with Hollywood remakes.
Yep.
That's all they've got now. They have nothing else. They have nothing else.
And it's been going on for years. I mentioned it before you came on that, there's been remake after remake after remake of classic movies. It's not a new thing, but it's becoming a very old thing, a very old habit of Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Let's dust off this book right here. Some of these pages we're going to have to rewrite, and let's just tear this page right out. Okay, there's our remake.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they've done remakes of so many movies. Go back a decade. I mean, go back to Total Recall. When they did the remake of that, and I mean, they took the premise and that was it. That was the only thing, was the premise. Everything else was,
Go ahead.
I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say, because it's like okay. It's like let's say, for example, you've had this amazing dish, okay, and it's been passed down from generation to generation. Say it's like 6 generations old. It could be anything: dessert, appetizer, entree, whatever, okay? And it's just legendary. And then you share that recipe with a friend because they want to do it. Well, then what if they take that and they decide to edit it and quote unquote remake it? The remakes are never as good as the original. A remake is not necessary. If it's tried and true and it is good, then leave it be. You don't need to remake Red Dawn, which, again, another Patrick Swayze movie, which the original is fucking epic. I mean, Wolverines, hello, Total Recall. What other fucking remakes are they making? There's probably others, but those are the two that stand out in my head the most right now.
Too many. They're making far too many.
Too many. And or what they're doing is they're taking strictly animated movies and making them live action, like they did with Aladdin, like they did with Lion King. Okay. Now, some of the live action movies that were animated, and I'm saying mainly Disney, because Disney's Disney's the one that's heavy-handed with the animated stuff. The
Yeah.
only two good animated movies that they did that are classics that really panned out well when they did them in real life, the live action, was Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast. Okay, those two were really good. Once I heard Aladdin, I'm like, no, you're not going to shit on Robin Williams like that and do a live action fucking remake. You're not going to do that. And then you do a Lion King, which they claimed was live action, but let's just be real. It was a CG movie. It was a live action CG movie. Okay. And then they did a Jungle Book movie, didn't they? Also, I mean, again, it's like,
yes. Although, to be honest, the Jungle Book movie that they did that was released, I believe, was either 15 or 16. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, I think Jon Favreau did that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying. I mean, these movies might be the best in the world. I'm just saying, stop remaking stuff. Okay, stop. Come up with an original idea. Now, I understand if you want to do a sequel to something that was kind of left open-ended, like partially open-ended, and you have a really good idea, and you want to continue the story. I get that. I get if you want to do a sequel, but you got to justify a sequel. You got to justify it. Like, okay, here's one in particular. And Pacific, you might have even heard the news that it's either the director or somebody who was involved, one of the higher ups in terms of the actual filming process and directing and producing process of The Last Starfighter, has been working to get a sequel made, one that carries on from the first one. It'll be a time jump, like 20 years in the future or something like that, but it'll still keep all the same feel and spirit of the original, but just update it and continue the story onward with the Star League and the Gun Stars and the Starfighters. And by the way, so for anyone in the chat or listens later who has not seen The Last Starfighter, the Starfighters are actually what they refer the pilots to. The pilots, the gunners and their navigators. They call them Starfighters, and the Gun Stars are the actual starships. So, just in case anybody has not seen it and you're wondering what the hell is this guy talking about, that's what it is.
The Last Starfighter was one of my favorite movies to watch when I was growing up.
I've watched that movie, God, 50 times probably. I nearly burnt out the cassette tape that it was on, because I just kept watching it over and over and over again. I loved it.
Yeah, it still holds up. It's still a great movie.
Oh, today it does. And for its time, it was revolutionary with CG, because they devoted, like, I think I read somewhere, like over 2/3 of its budget to CG, because they were groundbreaking in CG in a lot of ways, with how they did all the action shots in space and everything. I mean, that's a pretty big deal, considering back in those days when CG was still in its infancy, especially in movies. Yeah, they were revolutionary in some ways with that movie.
Yeah, they were.
So,
I mean, it's just another example of Hollywood being out of ideas. And Spock is saying, sorry, this remake is just going to be plain horrible. Does not need a remake or a sequel. And of all people they choose, Danny McBride, really?
Spock, I'm going to burst your bubble right now. They actually did a sequel years ago. Roadhouse 2. It was, have you ever seen the movie That Thing You Do? The one with Tom Hanks and the okay. The lead singer in that one, the one who kind of had the attitude and everything, he played the role of like the Patrick Swayze like character, but it was in, I want to say like Florida, or it was in like a different bar somewhere else. But there's actually a Roadhouse 2. And I didn't even know this existed until my dad and I were watching it one night. It was late, we couldn't sleep, so we just fired it up because it happened to be on TV. But Roadhouse 2 actually does exist, but it was done years ago. So
And
Yeah.
Gazillionaire wants to clarify that he said Danny McBride has a joke. Make it a comedy. All right. I could get behind it if it was, a spoof of Roadhouse.
The
But
problem is,
I'm going to go ahead and say, because I think I know where you're going. The problem is a lot of comedy isn't funny anymore.
that's similar to what I was going to say. I was going to say that. I was going to say something kind of like that. You can't make a good proper spoof like you could back in the day. You can't do equivalency of a scary movie. I mean, watch the first scary movie, the one where it had a very, very, very young Anna Faris in it. You watch that movie, and 90% of that stuff you could probably not do. If you tried to quote unquote remake Scary Movie again, you couldn't do it.
No,
you couldn't. Spoofs are gone because of our PC culture and how Hollywood, likes to get on its knees with when it comes to PC culture. And I don't mean bowing, by the way, the other kind of getting on your knees.
I'm going to sound like an old man, but it seems to me that ever since we left the 20th century, our humorous is gone.
Well, that was such a thing back in my day. When you watch something funny, damn it, it was funny. I mean, that Mel Brooks, that beautiful son of a bitch. Oh, God, he could produce a movie. Oh, I remember it like it was just yesterday, sitting in the theater watching Blazing Saddles. Oh, the days.
Blazing Saddles, I have it. It's funny.
I have the whole Mel Brooks collection. My mom got it for me. I forget how many years ago, but it's the entire Mel Brooks collection, all his movies in Blu-ray.
Nice.
Oh God, it's
yes,
comedy perfection.
I mean, of course, I'm a little biased toward Robin Hood Men in Tights and Spaceballs.
Oh, but you can't diss on some Young Frankenstein either.
No, I
I
don't.
Gene,
I don't. I
Gene
enjoy it. Gene
fucking
Wilder.
I mean,
yeah. I mean, he was a great entertainer. Whatever
he
role he
was
got into, he really got into it.
He really, really did. And do you know something? Do you know why you never saw anything before Gene Wilder passed? There was a time gap from the last time that there's like public photos or whatnot of him up until the moment he died. Do you know why? And this actually was a statement from his family. Do you know why?
I think it was something along the lines that he just wasn't interested in getting out in the public light anymore.
Nope. It's because so when a family member asked him why he didn't want to go out and say one last goodbye to the public and everything when he was in his state, I forget what he died of. It was dementia or
yeah, it was dementia.
It was dementia. He said, "I want to be remembered for who I was. I don't want my fans and those that have loved all my works to see me in this state. I want them to remember me how I was, somebody who laughed and loved life to its fullest."
That's admirable. That's
they don't make them like they used to.
No, they don't. Well, I mean, one of my favorite lines in Spaceballs, and you can pick a lot of lines in that movie, was, "How many assholes do we got on the ship? Yo!"
Yeah.
And then they follow it up with, "Keep firing, assholes!"
Assholes. He's an asshole, sir. Major asshole.
Yeah. Or when they're watching the tape, "This is now, sir." Really?
This is we're in now. But what was then? That's then. So what is now? We're in now. So that was then. We're in then. This is now. When will then be now? Soon, sir. Soon.
And I want to say hello to Brightest Day. Thank you for stopping by, sir. Greatly
Hey, but I
appreciate it.
just hey. I mean, or in what was it, Young Frankenstein, when he's there and he's like getting ready to bring the monster to life, and he's standing on the platform, and he's like, elevate me, and you get the one chick next to him, she's like, here right now. I mean, don't you want to do somewhere more? And he's like, what? On top of the platform? What the platform? Oh yeah.
Because Mel Brooks is a comedy genius.
He really is. But you know what? He doesn't give two shits. Because look at the comedy in all his movies, and the comedy kind of does vary because it's based around the setting of the movie usually. But he didn't take any. He didn't pull any punches. Watch Blazing Saddles. That has almost every racial epithet you could probably find in a movie at one time. And
Yep.
I know people that are like, oh, I don't like racial slurs. I'm like, okay, watch the movie from two perspectives. A comedy. Okay? Comedy used to be something where everything goes. Nothing is off limits. You could have the most super offensive jokes out there, and some would get offended and some would laugh their asses off. Okay? So we'll
Or
watch
you can be like Mongo. Mongo is pawn in Game of Life.
Look out, man. I think Mongo's got an eye towards you. Oh, Mongo straight.
Oh man. But see, that's what we're celebrating. We're celebrating good comedy. You don't bring up Mel
Oh
Brooks movies,
gosh.
Blazing Saddles. I know there's a lot of people out there in the community that will go, "Oh, it's bad. It's so bad. You need to get rid of it." But no, that movie has so many quotable lines. And
It's but see, that's the thing. A good comedy will have very quotable lines. A terrible comedy doesn't. I've seen terrible comedies, and honestly, I can't tell you anything about them. I've just known I've seen them. I can't actually remember the name of the movie, but I know I've seen them. And then there are comedies, which, if you notice, generally, aside from Tropic Thunder is probably
that
the
was
newest.
funny. That was funny.
Right, but I'm saying in terms of all the comedies we've gotten, the newest comedy that has the most memorable lines is Tropic Thunder. Let's just put that into perspective. All the comedies that have come out since Tropic Thunder, I can't think of any that were so memorable that there's quotable lines from it.
I can't think of a single one.
I can't, and I love me a good comedy. I mean, when I'm down, I fire up a good comedy. I'll fire up Major League, Blazing Saddles, Replacements, Tropic Thunder. You know, a good comedy to kind of
Old school.
lift
What
the
about
spirits.
old school? What about old school?
Old school.
You my boy, Blue. You my boy.
Old school. Which one was old school?
This one with Will Ferrell and
No,
Wilson's
I never
brother.
saw that one. No.
Oh, dude, you gotta watch it.
There are so many comedies out there that I still have to see. I can't remember them all. Okay.
Tell me you've seen the Animal House at least.
I never got the chance to. I never got the chance to.
Okay, what about Porky's?
I was forbidden from seeing that because it was quote unquote too sexually explicit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, there's some
I
movies
know.
you need to see because you won't just get a laugh. You'll get belly laughs. You'll get laughs so hard that there will be tears coming out of your eye, and you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. Well,
It'll give you the kind of laugh
of
that you need, especially with everything that's going on right now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, with everything that's been going on, and I mean everything, okay? Everything that happened in 2020, everything that's happening in 2021, we need a good Blazing Saddles-like movie or a good Mel Brooks style movie to kind of bring us all back to that just belly laughing, where literally the world, you forget everything that's happening in the world. You're not thinking, Oh, gosh, oil prices keep going up. Food prices. Oh my gosh. Well, there's Afghanistan. Well, there's that, and then when there's China. I mean, all that it literally escapes your mind, and for up to 2 hours, your brain is just laughing its ass off and enjoying a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I mean, maybe it was because I was, in my 20s at the time the movie came out, but American Pie 2, I can remember going to see that with a couple of friends when I visited my grandmother out in San Diego, and the whole auditorium was just laughing their asses off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it's that stupid teenager comedy, but the laughs that you got watching that movie, they're what you need now.
Yep. I mean, hence again, why did I mean, again, I'll bring it back to Tropic Thunder, a movie that's belly laughing fun, so over the top in so many ways, you know. But because of PC culture, you can't make a movie like that ever again.
No, you
Because
can't.
everyone has to be, everyone has to make sure they check off certain agenda boxes and this and that, and it's like, you know what? Just go suck on something else and let me enjoy my good comedy that will give me several hours of joy, probably many hours of joy. Come to think of it, because if it's that good, I'll probably end up buying it. So.
Yeah, but one movie I thought was funny at the time, and I still think it's funny, and it's a movie with Steve Martin and Eddie Murphy called Bowfinger.
Bowfinger.
Yeah,
That
I'll give
sounds
you
familiar.
I'll give you the
I don't know
premise.
why.
Steve Martin plays a director that's pretty much on his way out of his career. He hasn't had a hit movie in years, and Eddie Murphy plays this mega star named Kincaid, and actually no, that's the name of one of the characters. Sorry, Kincaid. But anyways, Eddie Murphy plays this big movie star who Steve Martin is trying to get into his movie, and the movie's called not Purple Rain. Oh gosh, what was it? What was it? If you guys in the chat have seen Bowfinger,
Oh, I think I did see this movie. I think I saw it once because it was on TV, and I never went to go look for it again.
yeah,
Because I saw it before I think streaming came out. Yeah, I saw it before streaming came out. Yeah, I think it had like Heather Graham in it, and there's like at one point she's like
yes,
takes her top off in front of Eddie Murphy, and then he just like has that smile on his face, and I forget what he says. I just remember that because I'm like, Heather Graham, oh, she's a hottie. Oh,
yeah,
hello, Eddie Murphy, get out of the way, dude, get out of the way. We're missing the show.
yeah. Because not only does Eddie Murphy play this big Hollywood star, he also plays the star's dorky brother.
Right.
And one of the things that made me laugh because the way Eddie Murphy was saying it was, oh, Heavenly God, Heavenly God, Heavenly God, oh Heavenly God. So, I mean, see, it wasn't one of those movies that was written to be, an Oscar winner. It was written to give you laughs, and it gave me laughs.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. How there are so many movies out there pre Tropic Thunder that are just so memorable. Like
Heck, in the
like
20th century,
yeah,
I tell you
yeah,
what.
seriously. I always joke around with my mom. Of course, she doesn't always get the joke sometimes, but I'll joke around and be like, Mom, I think I was born in the wrong century. And then, of course, she doesn't get the joke, and she's like, well, honey, God intended for you to be. I'm like, Mom, you're totally missing what I'm getting at here. I'm trying to joke around, okay? I'm trying to joke around. Like, the way I think, the way I believe everything, it's more fitting of like like the 50s, Like, that's kind of
You're an
more
old
my
soul.
ideals. I'm
You're an old
very
soul.
much an old soul. Very much old soul in my beliefs, old soul in my ideals. Just I'm an old soul, and there's somebody like me who's in their early 30s. they're not easy to come by. Who's old soul?
Mm-mm.
They're just not, which is sad.
It's sad, but you take a look at what we have nowadays, where everybody's into their phones constantly. I mean, I'm guilty of it myself. I can't say I'm above that. I'm not. I'm as guilty as the next person.
Mm-hmm.
But prior to us all having cell phones, we actually looked at each other in the eye. We actually said hello. We actually spent time, with our neighbors, having barbecues and stuff.
Mm-hmm. We did. I mean, if you wanted to go on a date, you actually had to go approach the person. You
Mm-hmm.
know. Now, granted, this is also before the whole dating culture became so toxic,
Yeah.
so toxic. I mean, you know, yeah, but I mean, you had to actually go approach a woman and you had to actually, get the cojones to actually talk. And, you know, women appreciated it when a man would come out, would walk up to them and approach them and be like, obviously this is very dramatized, but like, hey baby, so how you doing tonight? Music too loud for you? Obviously not that, but you'd say something to them.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can't do that because women get creeped out by it. Yet the
Mm-hmm.
funny thing is, all I ever hear when I see on social media is women are like, "Where are all the good men at? Why won't a man just walk up and approach me?"
Because you've made it to where we can't approach you anymore.
Yeah, you know, it's now. Am I saying men are the innocent victims? No, because there's asshole men out there and there's asshole women. The problem is that the asshole men are still wanting the good women. The problem is that because of the way society has developed, and I'm not trying to go down this rant, but I'm just trying to talk about the societal differences between then and now. Is now men cannot approach a woman and ask them out on a date. The most you'll get if you do that is maybe a one night stand or kind of like a quick sexual fling for a week or two kind of thing. That if you meet a woman without meeting her online, then that's kind of a rare.
You still there, Common? I'll give it a few more seconds.
Okay, yeah,
You
because
cut out for a few seconds.
I got the whole StreamYard is having trouble connect. I got that thing. So
Well, at least it's not melon.
yeah. Well, we had yeah, but we also had trouble with StreamYards too. Remember?
Yeah, I know. I haven't forgotten that point, but that's all right. Let me just pull up something. It'll make you happy. And I know someone out there is probably gonna go re, but you know what? Life is short.
Life is short. I mean, honestly, again, old soul here. I buck the trend in terms of thinking of how a lot of people say go to college, do all these things. And if you're a guy, yeah, I get the whole college thing, but I'm just going to tell you this. I've known people who got married, like, okay, prime example, my best friend, he got married at 19. He's still married to the same woman. They have 3 kids together. They are very much in love and happy. Do they have issues that arise? Do they still have arguments? Yes. Him and I have talked about this many times. But do you know what? He's like, we each have actually said this on our own initiative where we cannot imagine our lives without the other person because of how much better the other person makes their life. 19 years old. When everyone says, no, 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 he should have got married in his late 20s, even 30s. 19 years old. No college degree, by the way.
So to make you a little more happy since you got disconnected, there's Heather Locklear. And there's Heather Thomas. You're welcome.
Well, hello.
See, I've got your back, brother.
Yeah. But yeah, and you know what? That's the thing. Go look back in the day. When you look at movies, it was original ideas. Sure, yeah, you did have sequels from time to time, but it wasn't, it wasn't like how it is today. You know, it wasn't 30 sequels. It wasn't Airbud goes to space, Airbud the next dimension, Airbud saves the galaxy, Airbud stops the snap.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. Airbud is awesome, dude. Why are you dissing on Airbud?
No. The first Airbud was. They've made however many damn sequels. I'm serious. They've made like 6 or 7 sequels. That went all straight to DVD, by the way.
Yeah, they did.
So I'm sorry. There's no reason why you needed anything past the first one.
But it's Disney, and you know what? You're helping me segue into the next topic.
Well, Mazel tov.
I thank you, good sir.
My life. I'm Spock.
Yes. Well, hey, what can we say?
My logic has been breached.
Heather Locklear and Heather Thomas are beautiful, gorgeous women.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not afraid to say that. Go ahead,
Nope.
call me misogynist, call me chauvinist, whatever. They are beautiful, attractive women.
I am a chauvinist, misogynist, toxic male because I actually like a beautiful woman. I like the female form. I like what God put on a woman in the chest area. I like the figure. I like the sounds, the smells, the beauty. So if you don't like that stuff and you want to get mad at me, well, up yours then. I don't care.
You know,
Anyways.
I appreciate the female form, and yes, there are times where they can get under your skin, but you have to tell yourself it's okay, it's gonna be fine. Just look.
I tell my girlfriend that the entire time. I'm like, there's going to be at times if we keep going down this road and maybe one day we get hitched, there's going to be times where we just might draw guns on each other. Just because you will get under my skin to that point, I will get under your skin. But as long as we keep the safeties on and lower our guns, we will be fine.
And Spock says, I am a crying man baby. Well, you know what? According to Ryan Johnson, we're all man babies.
Ryan Johnson can go fuck himself for all I care.
Last Jedi fucking sucks.
Oh, did you? Oh, you're gonna love this time. So I saw this TikTok the other day, and it was literally it's the Stitch thing, and I think I've explained to you about the whole Stitch thing in the past, you and Chaos, and it literally was just this. Name a movie that you watched that you don't like, but yet you can't explain why you don't like it. And then literally a guy pulls out The Last Jedi and says, this movie. Watch the opening to this movie. Watch the first few minutes. Okay? Watch the first few minutes. And if you make it all the way through, you will totally regret the next 2.5 hours of your life. And you don't even know why you will hate yourself. But do me a favor. Don't spend 2.5 hours of your life on this. And then just drops it in the trash.
Well, I have a confession to make. I did spend 2 hours of my life watching that movie in the theater. And then I made the dumb choice of wasting 2 more hours of my life and watching it when it came out on home video. And that was the last time I watched it.
I saw it on opening night. because my best friend and I, we made a pact. We were going to see the entire trilogy, for better or for worse. We were going to do it together, and either be in such ecstasy, happiness because it was incredible, or want to literally stick bamboo shoots under our fingernails. Either way, we were going to do it, and we did it. We did it through each and every movie. We sat right next to each other and we watched it opening night for each of the trilogy movies. And you can say, well, that's stupid. This guy's my brother, like literally. I mean, he might not have my last name or share any DNA with me, but he's my brother. I mean, we've been there for each other since 13 years old. 13 or 14 years old, I think. So,
Yeah. It's like Chaos and I. We went and
yep.
saw First Contact together on opening day. We went and saw it. And, at the time, I really enjoyed First Contact. But if I want to seriously rank all the Star Trek movies, my top two will always be The Wrath of Khan and The Undiscovered Country.
See, I love 4 because we only owned 4 and 6, and I would only see 2 whenever it would rarely come out on TV. So I grew up on 4 and 6. So 4 and 6 are my 2 iconics. I still love Wrath of Khan. It's just a hair under 4, but 4 is better than 2 just because I grew up with 4 and 6. That's the only reason why. Wrath of Khan is just a tiny bit under because I didn't get as much exposure to it and watched it as much. That's the only reason why.
I do have a recommendation when it comes to the Wrath of Khan, because I've seen it twice now. The director's cut of Wrath of Khan. It puts in the elements that should have been left in because it broadens the story more.
I've never seen the director's cut.
Oh, you've got to watch it, brother.
I didn't even know there was a director's cut, actually.
Yes. You can find it on Amazon right now, and it's not that expensive either.
I will try. Well, I'll try and get it when I can right now.
Yeah.
But.
And Spock here says, grew up with First Contact, will always love it. For TOS films, Wrath of Khan takes the cake.
No, I agree. I mean, I will never diss on Wrath of Khan, and like I said, the only reason why it's not over number 4 is just because we didn't own it. That's literally the only reason why.
And but Alan Copeland,
I love Wrath of Khan. Yeah,
he's in your camp. Voyage Home, and his number 2 is First Contact.
First, okay. Continuity aside, which honestly, the TNG films, I don't even put into a continuity in terms of the Star Trek timeline. They are in their own separate thing because there's no way to explain certain events in those movies. There's just no way to. But if you just take them as their own thing, First Contact. See, I liked Nemesis. I did. I know people hate on it. I liked Nemesis. Nemesis and First Contact are like tied with me. And I know I'm gonna get hate for liking Nemesis. I don't care what you think. I liked it.
No, I understand
way better
where
than
you're coming
Insurrection.
From. Nemesis grew on me.
Because it was
when I first saw it, I wasn't that impressed. But then I watched it again, a couple years later, and it's one of those that has just grown on me.
Yeah, and the thing is, you don't like when you first watch it, you're kind of like, whoa, what? Whoa, what? Whoa, what? And that last one is pertaining to the ending. For anyone who has seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, Nemesis was a good solid Trek movie. You know, I mean, obviously people can argue. I've heard people say it was too boring. The story didn't make sense. There's too much action in it, which actually I think there's just the right amount of action in it
Well, I
personally.
was one of the fans nitpicking, going, okay, so how could there be this Picard clone, and how could the Romulans do it without the Federation even knowing? And then I, start thinking about, Unification Part 1, Unification Part 2, thinking, well, at some point, was Picard's DNA taken, and that's how they cloned
Mm-hmm.
Shinzon? And
Could have been in any way. I mean, a strand of hair,
yeah,
anything. It could have been Picard said, Picard, hi, I'm Captain Picard, and a little spittle got on a
yeah.
Romulan uniform. I mean, there's many ways the Romulans. Plus, espionage, secrecy. This is the way the Romulans do their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So they might have even hired a third party to even get it to. I mean,
Or
they don't explain it, and I'm fine with that.
and the name of the episode escapes me, but there was a quote unquote Vulcan ambassador that was on the Enterprise, and then she beams off the Enterprise, and she then next appears on a Romulan warbird,
Mm-hmm.
and they see her on the view screen. So I'm thinking, did it happen in that episode where she got a sample of Picard's DNA, and from that point on, they started experimenting and
Mm-hmm.
see that's the fan in me. That's the part of me that goes, or did it happen here? Did it happen there? I'm sure I'm
Yeah.
not the only one.
No, I mean, to me, it makes total sense to me. I mean, and that's the thing about that movie is you don't really need to overthink. Well, how do they do this? It's like, okay, this is okay. Just go with this. Watch the movie with this one premise in mind: secrecy and espionage. You
Mm-hmm.
watch, you watch Nemesis with that in mind. It makes total sense.
It
It
does.
makes total sense.
It does, because it fits with the Romulans. They're very secretive.
Mm-hmm. They're very secretive, and which is why that's why the scimitar was so shocking to them, because it was so overpowered and so powerful. It was not anything Romulan, because Romulan ships are powerful, but they are also big vulnerabilities too. In terms, if you look at their design,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that ship doesn't have tactical systems like a lot of Federation ships do, where they have phaser points all over the ship. So no matter where the ship is turning, you're at least getting one phaser beam on target. Romulan ships aren't
Well,
designed that way, so it's about intimidation.
look at the Derek class warbird from the TNG era.
Mm-hmm.
That's got some vulnerability spots.
Yep. 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 Plus, I also like those new Romulan ships they showed in Nemesis.
Mm-hmm.
They were very much Romulan, but you can tell that they mitigated a lot of the weak points on
Yep.
it. So again,
Although,
Nemesis I
don't get
thought
me
was a
wrong, I
great.
would have loved to have seen a Derek in that movie. And maybe there was one in that movie and I never caught it on screen, but
No, because the first Romulan ship, to my knowledge, you see is when they come to aid the Enterprise. You don't see any Romulan ships, because remember, they're orbiting Romulus,
yeah,
and you
I
don't
know.
see any Romulan ships.
And Alan Copeland has something to add. Unpopular opinion. I also like.
Okay,
Whoa,
all right, okay, okay,
whoa,
okay,
okay.
okay. I'm gonna
All
say this.
right,
I'm gonna say
Alan.
I got one
Alan,
comment. I got
do you want me to do my wrestling persona right now, brother?
okay. All right, all right, all right,
Because
all right. Before
that right there, brother, that's gonna call for a hardcore match.
Okay, I'm gonna just say this about Lower Decks. I saw the first 5 episodes of Lower Decks. There was one point in Lower Decks that was funny to me. Okay, only one. Everything else literally didn't make a damn bit of sense to me. But Lower Decks, could have been good if they didn't, if it wasn't just so grotesque, in my opinion. Now, here's the thing. If you like it, great. I don't understand why you like it, because I'm not a purist when it comes to Trek. I'm not a purist, But there are some things that are within Trek that are kind of like, this doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. That wouldn't be allowed here. This wouldn't be allowed here. And that it just doesn't make any sense to me. So, but Discovery, there is nothing redeeming about Discovery. And you're talking to somebody who has seen all 3 seasons. I watched the first half of season 1. I watched the first half of season 1 out of sheer curiosity. And then I'm like, well, I've already seen the first half. Let me see the second half. And then I was part of a podcast group at the same time. And they're like, well, do you want to watch season 2 for research? And we'll do a weekly podcast episode all about that episode. So I'm like, yeah. So I would watch every episode of season 2 twice. Once for initial reaction, and then second time was to where I jotted down notes. And I had like 5 pages of notes per episode. So you can tell my hands were very busy. Eventually I typed them out because my hands were getting too sore after the 4th page. So I've seen all of Discovery. I don't see, again, if you like Discovery, great. More power to you. I don't like it. I don't get any, it doesn't feel like Trek to me. You can watch TNG, TOS, DS9, and some people argue on DS9, but DS9 is still Star Trek, and even Voyager to a degree, I would argue. They all do feel like Trek. Discovery does't. And this is my opinion. If you like it, you like it. Hey, more power to you.
And no, I'm not going to diss Alan Coppola because he likes
I'm not going to diss
Star Trek
either.
Discovery.
Yeah. Although he does,
perfectly...
he does have the Rebel Alliance symbol, so he does win him back a few points right there for that alone.
No, because at the end of the day, we're all allowed to like what we like. We may disagree,
of course,
points, but we're all allowed to like what we like. And besides, he still wins back some more points by saying DS9 is his favorite.
That is true. You discern. You know what? You went negative initially, and then the Rebel Alliance got you up a few points, and then saying DS9 brought you back to where you're on par now. You're on par.
And now, and guess what? He's completely redeemed himself.
Okay,
in my
you
eyes.
know what? Okay, Okay. You got one of the 3 right. And I will say this about Discovery. It is very, very, very different. The only way that I can justify liking Discovery is if you say it's an alternate timeline.
So I'm going to pose this question to Alan. Do you view Discovery as its own timeline?
Or prime canon? Yeah. Meaning that what happens in Discovery leads up to Kirk.
He says, I like it because it's related to and different from the original shows. But let's see. He says here, the first season was radically different and takes time to get used to.
That is, yes.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Especially because we see Klingon, well, I'm going to say the word. I don't know if this is YouTube friendly, but we see Klingon tits in a rape scene.
Yeah. And then don't forget, I think it was the last episode where we actually see a Klingon urinating in some alleyway. And
no, that was in, or wait, was that season 1 or was that season 2?
My recollection is season 1, but
it might have been. I don't remember. Yeah, I mean, it's possible and everything. Yeah, okay, Alan. Okay, see, Alan, you and I are in complete agreement then. The only way I can watch Discovery and even enjoy it is if it's its own separate timeline. So like how you have the Kelvin timeline, which is entirely separate from the Prime. I call it the Discovery timeline. That's the only way I can watch Discovery and actually get enjoyment out of it, because if you switch your brain into thinking this is not Prime, this is an entirely different timeline, then you can actually watch the show with a more of an open mind.
Yeah.
But, and again, I'm not a purist, but there are
Especially
certain...
if you don't view it as Star Trek. If you view it as something completely out of the Star Trek timeline, like you're saying, like Alan's saying, then you can watch it.
Yeah.
And like you were going to say, turn off your brain. Because that's what we have to do sometimes with some TV shows and movies. It's just turn off the brain.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to overthink everything.
I mean, there's only one character that I would have enjoyed a nice intimate scene with, seeing on that. I'm going to give, okay, Pacific, I'm going to give you 3 guesses. Which character would you have liked to seen a nice intimate scene with if they had to do one in Discovery? And it's in the Discovery crew, by the way, because there's no way I want to see Klingon again.
Detmer?
Tilly.
Okay.
I'm just saying. Cute redhead like that? Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
Spock,
yeah, fair point.
he's got a fair point.
Very fair point.
Very fair point.
No, and that's the thing. You're not breaking the mood here. You're not breaking the mood, because again, I don't like what they're doing in the Discovery timeline either. But that's the only way to justify the show, is an entirely separate timeline. It's the only way to justify it.
And, I can also understand Spock's reasoning, because to me, there will always be one Spock, and that's Leonard Nimoy.
Yep.
Because, and I know someone's going to get ticked off, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you don't have an actor that at least looks somewhat close to Leonard Nimoy, then it's not Spock. It's just some other Vulcan.
Yep. I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
we can't
do I
change it.
wish? Yeah, we can't change it. If they now, I would love for them to say that it's an entirely separate timeline, because I feel like you would win back a little goodwill with the Trek fans if you said, yeah, this is an entirely separate timeline. Okay, you might win a little goodwill with Trek fans.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, when you're saying it's prime time, because that's what they're saying, by the way. They're saying this is part of the prime timeline.
Yeah, even before it aired, they were hyping it as part of the Prime universe.
And
I mean, even the teaser trailer that they had for Discovery, it had the red Bassard collectors before they redid some of the design, which was actually an Andrew Probert design.
You mean for Discovery?
Yeah, because they took that design from concept art for the motion picture for a new version of the Enterprise before they ultimately decided on the final design that we see in the motion picture and all the way up to Star Trek 6.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, is that Discovery had a lot of potential. It had a lot of potential, because this is pre-TOS. So I could understand there being a Klingon war, and that's why you have all this like brink of war level tension with the Klingon Empire that we get in TOS, and we also get in the movie in the TOS movies. That would make sense, But
and I seem to recall that there was a point in the original series where they even mentioned that first contact with the Klingons went badly.
Well, I mean, that was before Enterprise came out, so
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, granted, Enterprise did mess up a few things, but Enterprise also helped add to it too.
No. It did. I'm just saying some of the things said in TOS, Enterprise counters. That's all I'm saying. It does add. Yes, I agree. I'm just saying Enterprise was good and bad in terms of how it added to TO and it continued on into TOS to a degree.
Yeah.
With certain things. But again, we've gone off on a long tangent.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's fine to do that on this program because we are discussing pop culture. We are discussing things that we care about, and I'm sorry to some of you who think I should just let it go, but I still care about Star Trek.
The same way, yeah, Trek and Star Wars. I still care about them deeply.
Mm-hmm.
They are part of my DNA. So.
And Alan Copeland says, besides bad writing, do you know why they are so radically different from Prime Trek?
Well, one, look at how the Klingons look. Because remember, in Enterprise, when we see the Klingons, you go up to the fourth season, and then there was the augment virus, which the one doctor says that our children will have to bear this. He said it'll take several generations for our people to recover, and grow back and have the cranial ridges restored, and whatnot. And if you watch TOS, the Klingons don't have cranial ridges. Now, obviously, that was part of the time and everything, because if you watch the TOS movies, they do have the cranial ridges. But why do those Klingons? A, they don't look like any Klingon we've ever seen. Two, their ships don't look anything like a Klingon ship that we've ever seen. Three, they have their cranial ridges still.
Yep.
So that's three big things right there. That's three big things. That's just on the Klingons. Now, granted, we have not seen anything of Romulans, but then again, there was very little to no communication between Starfleet and the Romulan Empire in terms of really seeing them much, or if any, up until TNG. Now, I know the TOS movies did have the Romulan ambassador and whatnot, but in terms of a major presence, they were in TOS and then TNG.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, TOS was where they were shocked by the Romulans. They were like, holy crap, this is the Romulans? So I'm glad they haven't touched Romulans yet, which they can't, because they've jumped into the 32nd century, I think. 31st,
yeah.
32nd, something like that.
I mean, that's where we're getting that hideous looking Ferengi.
Mm-hmm.
So, to move on, and we'll probably end up getting back to Star Trek and even Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
But this is out of Bounding into Comics. It's from Spencer Bacall, and it was released on Friday. And it mentions, and Disney, just stop. Really, you just gotta stop. Disney announces several new Marvel animated series, including X-Men, the animated series continuation. Just leave it be. You can't top what they did back in the 90s. You certainly can't equal what they did back in the 90s. You're just going to ruin that show's legacy.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is assuming they cared about that, by the way.
We all know they don't.
Yeah.
We've seen it. It says, as part of their Disney Plus Day celebrations, and I want to make this perfectly clear. Had they not fired Gina Carano and everything that's gone down with Star Wars, before then and since then, I might have taken advantage of that $1.99 1 month subscription deal, but not now.
I don't know anything about that. So
Yeah, for Disney Plus Day from the 11th up until I think it's midnight tonight, you can sign up for 1 month of Disney Plus for $1.99.
and then you're back to paying if you do because then it would because it's because
Yeah.
like an introductory thing. It's the same way how it was with Game Pass. When I first got Game Pass for
Well, they
my
were even
the
offering it to current subscribers.
well, no. But what I'm saying though is that it's $1.99 for 1 month, and then it goes back to like the $15 or whatever it is per month. It's you're not locked in at $1.99.
No, I know that it was just a 1 month
Yeah,
deal, but still,
yeah. I
had I
mean, I already got Disney
not already
Plus. Don't know
canceled,
why, but
had I not already canceled my subscription and everything that happened, I might have said, you know what, for a month, I'll give it a month, and then I'll drop it. But anyways, as part of their Disney Plus Day celebrations, Disney has announced the upcoming production of several new Marvel animated series, including a continuation of the 1990s X-Men series. All right, let's scroll down here. According to a press release provided by the studio, these new offerings will include What If Season 2. I had no interest in seeing What If, so what if some of us didn't care about What If? Okay, I know that was bad. It says the second season of the fan favorite animated series, after enlisting the Guardians of the Multiverse to stop Infinity Ultron, the Watcher returns in season 2 of What If to meet new heroes and explore more strange worlds in the MCU's ever expanding multiverse. Let me guess. They'll be on a starship called Enterprise. So, sorry, it was there. What was I supposed to do? Just watch it go by? Just stand there in the batter's box and just watch that ball go by? No, I'm taking a swing at that baby. It says directed by executive producer Brian Andrews, with executive producer AC Bradley serving as head writer. And then it says Spider-Man freshman year, an animated series that follows Peter Parker on his way to becoming Spider-Man in the MCU, with a journey unlike we've ever seen and a style that celebrates the character's early comic book roots. Executive producer Jeff Tremel serves as head writer. Next, I Am Groot. Okay, so is this series gonna just be a series where the entire episode all we hear is I am Groot, I am Groot, I am Groot? Okay, I know there's gonna be other characters speaking other lines. Again, I'm trying to be funny here.
it's hard to be funny with this. It really is.
I am
It's just
Groot.
so hard.
I am Groot. All right, I know that's gonna run its course quickly. It
Yeah.
says I Am Groot is a series of original shorts exploring baby Groot's glory days growing up and getting into trouble among the stars. Directed by executive producer Kristen Lepore. And then Marvel Zombies. I don't know. It sounds like it might be a fun game. It says Marvel Zombies, an animated series from Marvel Studios that reimagines the Marvel Universe as a new generation of heroes battle against an ever-spreading zombie surge. I'm sorry, Scourge. I wanted to say Surge because that sounded better. Directed by executive producer Brian Andrews. Well, in a way, it's appropriate because that's all Disney's been doing is buying up one property after another and eating the brains of that property and leaving us with a shell of that property.
So kind of like a zombie in a way.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, X-Men 97, an animated series from Marvel Studios that explores new stories in the iconic 90s timeline of the original series. Yeah, it's going to be in that same timeline, but it won't have the same animation. That animation, especially for cell animation back in the 90s, that was top notch. To
Mm-hmm.
have that animated series look so close to the pages of Marvel Comics, especially X-Men at the time, you know, they did a remarkable job on that series. Okay, maybe I was in high school at the time that it aired, but you know what? When I was working on my homework, I would have that on. So occasionally I would stop what I was doing and see what's going on in the episode. I'll admit that. But, anyways, this series is executive produced by Bo DiMero, producer and head writer. Let's see. It goes on to say, while it is assumed that the first four series listed above are canon to the MCU, the Marvel Zombies spinning out of the concepts given debuted in the first season. What if X-Men 97 will likely only share continuity with its parent series? Well, again, why don't they just leave that series well enough alone? As of writing, no concrete release dates or casting details have been confirmed by either Marvel or Disney. Well, you got to bring back the original voice actors. That's why I say, if any of them are, still with us and still able to do the voice work, bring them back. And bring in some of the original writers. Now, I know with that, there's another thing that's going to pop up, and that's, current year, current politics. And Godzillionaire says, they are going to do X-Men in some Cal Arts style animation BS. Unfortunately, Cal Arts seems to be the only animation style these days. Gosh, if I knew drawing like that would have made some big money, heck, I would have submitted it years ago. But yeah, Disney. When are you going to learn? Unfortunately, I can answer my own question by saying they're not going to learn.
Nope. Because to them, it's just a cash cow.
Mm-hmm.
They have, again, it's not about preserving a franchise. I mean, there hasn't been, the last Marvel movie that came out was Dark Phoenix, and that was 2018, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's about 2 to 3 years ago. Okay, that was the last time we got any Marvel movie. There is, to my knowledge, no Marvel movie set even in production or even announced yet. That's X-Men. Sorry, that's X-Men, an X-Men movie. So, because that Dark Phoenix bombed so badly, it was terribly received and it bombed so badly. So they're like, well, we can't exactly keep making these X-Men movies. Big budget, costs a lot of money, gonna take a huge hit. What else can we do X-Men? Oh yeah. It's like, really? Maybe just if you wanted to do X-Men, make something good, something that sticks to the actual continuity, to the characters and whatnot, Like how hard is that again?
It's too hard for anyone to do it nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Apparently so.
So that brings us to our next article out of the Hollywood Reporter. And it's by Boris Kitt and Aaron Crouch. So it took two writers to write this article. Back in the day, it would take the writer and the editor, and that's it. So it says Doctor Strange has fought mystical beings in dark dimensions and faced the might of Thanos, but now faces his most potent threat: reshoots. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, the Benedict Cumber. Yeah, okay. Yes, I am going to butcher the name. I always do.
Benedict Cumberpatch.
Thank you. Thank you.
It took me a little bit at first as well. Don't worry. So I got you back.
Well, a lot of times I say Cumberbatch.
Yeah, I ADHD. It's easy to mispronounce words or not pronounce them properly because your mind just races. So I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
And it says, how he's starring in the sequel to Marvel Studios' 2016 installment. See, and I'm just gonna say something real quick. That was 5 years ago. This movie, what I don't even know when it's supposed to come out, but even if it's, sometime in 2023, 2024, whatever, that's too long for a sequel. Nowadays, that's too long for a sequel.
Although, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, from what I'm hearing, because of the problems they're having with the whole masks and the jab and all that stuff, it's still they're having so many problems and complications with all that's actually delaying productions. And because a lot of these productions, they are linked sequentially, if one stops, everything below it that that needs to come out or comes out after or what have you, it's being delayed as well. So they're already in production hell as it is to right now. Yeah. It's only going to get worse.
And this article is saying how it's been prescribed a major new shoot. So, like a lot of movies nowadays, they see a cut of the movie they don't like and they reshoot it. And because of the COOF restrictions and everything, that hampers things. I mean, heck, I thought I had even seen an article where they got rid of Emilio Estevez from the Mighty Ducks series.
They did, because he was gonna return as Gordon Bombay in the second season, and because he refused to comply with it, because and I'm not going to get too deep on that because of
Yeah, I understand.
But suffice to say, he didn't agree with it, so he said no. And they're like, well, all right, fine. No, you're not part of this production anymore.
And as far as the sequel to Doctor Strange is concerned, it says, in what sources describe as being significant, the new shoot taking place in Los Angeles is both additional photography and reshoots. How significant? Insiders say that Cumberbatch and company are undertaking 6 weeks of shootings, if not more, working 6 days a week. Sam Raimi remains as Helmer, and Loki head writer Michael Waldron is still on board writing the new material. It is unclear what actors, in addition to Cumberbatch, are involved. The crew involved is familiar with the Marvel method and worked on recent pickups for the upcoming Spider-Man No Way Home and additional shooting for next year's Oscar Isaac series Moon Knight. Goes on to say, our source played down the severity of the shoot. Of course they are. That's what they do nowadays. They always play it down because they know they've got a heaping pile of poop.
That's an understatement.
Well, I mean, Dr. Malcolm in Jurassic Park, I'll go ahead and quote it right here. That's one big pile of shit.
I had it in my head. I just didn't say it, but I had that in my head.
What's up, Nerporeal? How you doing, brother?
What's happening, Nerporeal?
Yeah, you should really check out his video that he did on the thing. It's real good.
Never seen the thing. Not not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea,
Understandable.
unfortunately. But
But
it is a classic, and it's well loved. So to all those who do like it, muzzle tov.
and the article says our source played down the severity of the shoot, even while in the middle of production. Marvel is scheduling you for more shooting, adding that the size and complexity of Marvel's movies necessitate additional photography. One insider scoffed at the size and scope. We've had bigger reshoots on other MCU movies. However, other sources have their eyebrows raised at length. Hmm, I wonder if they've been taking lessons from Spock. They're here until the end of the year. That's like a whole other movie, said one. Several factors appear to be driving the shoot. One insider said about 2 weeks are dedicated to principal photography that was held over from the initial shoot that took place in the UK due to what is described as actor availability issues. The insider played down concerns that the reshoots were related to retooling the story. Another reason for the shoot concerns catching up on production slowdowns from COVID related matters that hit the initial UK production. It was those slowdowns that reared their head when they unexpectedly affected the Marvel release schedule in October. On October 18th, Marvel and Disney announced the pushing back of Multiverse of Madness from March 25th, 2022 to May 6th, 2022. Thor Love and Thunder, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, The Marvels, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania, hopscotch backward into new dates as well. First announced at Comic Con 2019. So again, you factor in that too when the movie was announced. And here it is later, 2021. We're going into 2022. So almost 3 years. And, you know, you can blame the coof, you can blame whatever, but that's not good for a movie. And I'm no movie insider. I don't work in Hollywood. I don't want to work in Hollywood, but I will discuss these things, these matters, because these properties are properties I've cared about at some point or another, or still care about to a certain extent. But it says first announced at Comic Con in 2019, Multiverse of Madness is an ambitious project for Marvel, with one aspect dealing with alternate versions of fan favorite superheroes, much in the way that the recent Disney Plus series What If reimagined Marvel mainstays. Says the movie has had its fair share of challenges. Doctor Strange director Scott Derrickson had co-written a script and was due to direct when creative differences led to a parting of ways in January 2020. Rami and Waldron were then brought on to, as one source says, create a whole new movie on an accelerated timetable to boot. Multiverse of Madness started production in the UK in November 2020, but paused in January 2021 due to the worsening pandemic. It then restarted and essentially wrapped in the spring. It goes on to say, still, despite story concerns apparently playing a minimal part in the new shoot, it is evident that working in the multiverse requires Reed Richards level thinking. Half the time, a Marvel movie has to tie into past movies while setting up future movies and increasingly TV series. Despite the major shoot underway, The mood of the cast and crew is not downbeat. They are pervasive enthusiasm. There is pervasive enthusiasm, one source described. On Thursday, Cumberbatch spoke about the reshoots on Jimmy Kimmel Live, where he was asked if he knew what the reshoots were going to be. Sorry, I know I've been flubbing this whole thing. Like everything with Marvel, it comes in fresh pretty much. Most mornings, Cumberbatch said with a laugh when questioned, "It's really exciting and the film is shaping up to be something special." We'll see about that. So, what are your thoughts?
I mean, there's a lot there. I think my big thing is uh, the whole Doctor Strange thing. If I'm not mistaken, aren't they bringing Scarlet Witch into it as well? And
Yes, they
then
are.
and then isn't and then there's like one or two others I think they're bringing in as well. I can't remember who.
Yes, and if you recall, supposedly in the last episode of WandaVision, Cumberbatch was supposed to have a cameo in that episode, and they cut it out.
I never saw WandaVision because I don't think it should have existed personally. I mean, I get it. I think there's a comic run of that and everything, but I mean, the show itself. I mean, granted, I think the past three shows, Marvel shows they've done, shouldn't have existed in the first place. But that's just me.
No, and neither should the Hawkeye series that's coming out. That shouldn't exist, but
Hawkeye, yeah, it shouldn't exist. I mean, in a way, I am because here's the thing: the Hawkeye series is introducing uh, Kate Bishop. So in a way, I get that because it's actually introducing a new Marvel character rather than, the Loki series just being stupid and not making any sense. And same with WandaVision. And, because there was a time, because if I, correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't know if you know this answer or not, somebody in the chat might as well. But there was one point where Bucky did become Captain America. And
yes,
then
in the
he
comics he
found,
did.
yeah, but that wasn't like a permanent thing. That was kind of like he took on the role of Captain America for a bit, and then he's like, nope, nope, we need Steve for this. We need Steve for this because I can't bear this weight like he can. He need, it was something. I could be wrong in that, but for a time, Bucky was Captain America. He wore the stars and stripes, red, white, and blue, and he had the shield.
Same with Sam, but even then they brought back Steve Rogers.
Yeah, but because of Endgame, Rogers is an old man now. Which,
What's the problem with him being old?
well,
Come
hey, if you're gonna
on.
do, I mean, again, I am not familiar with the comics, so I don't know if at one point, I don't know, from all the comic nerds that I've seen, Nerdrotic, uh, 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 as and several others. To my knowledge, the whole Captain America, the whole Endgame thing where he goes back in time so he can just live a normal life. That never, I don't know if that ever happened.
I
It's,
I
I
don't know.
don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying it creates a massive plot hole because you give it to Sam, who, Bucky was your best friend, like a brother to you, and you give the shield to Sam? What?
Yeah, and one of the lines that I thought what does he mean carrying that shield is complicated? Is when Sam says, carrying around the shield. Oh, excuse me. It's complicated. I'm thinking, how is it complicated for Sam? Tell me. And then, of
Yeah.
course, they, throw in current year politics. I'm thinking, no, I don't look at Sam in that way. I look at Sam as Falcon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's how I look at him, and that's the big problem that we have is that they they keep screwing with this whole thing. They keep screwing with it more and more and more. It's like, can you people just stop for the love of Almighty God? Just stop. Just,
Yeah, well, unfortunately, my friend, they're not going to stop.
I know.
They're not going to stop. And no, we're probably not going to be getting this version of Jennifer Walters as She-Hulk either.
No, although it was funny because I remember Friday Night Tights. I don't know if you saw that, but they actually watched all the little like teaser things, and when they showed the She-Hulk one, everyone was going to be worried that She-Hulk's not going to be like this like how it shows there basically a hottie with with a sexy busty bod and everything, and then all of a sudden when they show in the trailer little teaser, they show her and they pause it, and all you hear as is say this. Well, she's got a decent looking ass at least. He's like,
Yeah,
maybe this show might actually be good.
and I don't know what it was, what video it was that got their stream, blocked, but
It was the Disney stuff. It was
yeah.
because I watched a little bit of Gary's thing earlier today, his live stream.
Mhm.
So it was that Disney stuff, and he's like, I didn't want to fight it, so he's like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that out, cut that whole Disney part out, and then upload the stream as is minus that Disney part.
Yeah. And in this article it says Marvel drops first look at upcoming She-Hulk Disney Plus series. Now, I am not going to play the video. If you guys want to watch the teaser trailer, that's on you, but I am not going to play the video.
Yeah.
Okay, this article was by Spencer Bacall. It was released on Friday. It says, in honor of Disney Plus Day, Marvel and Disney have officially given audiences their first look at the upcoming She-Hulk series, headed exclusively to the House of Mouse's signature streaming service. It says, the trailer included as part of Marvel's Disney Plus Day sizzle reel opens with Jennifer Walters as portrayed by Orphan Black's Tatiana Maslany, narrating a brief montage of her life and explaining to viewers, I'm Jennifer Walters. I'm a normal lawyer. You sure about that? From what I've heard, it's not easy being green. And I blame Star Trek for me liking green women, okay? I'm just going to say that right now.
You know what? No, I mean, the man's got a point. Although it was funny, I recently watched the whole Orion episode on Enterprise, and all I could think of was, okay, two of these women I wouldn't want to touch with a 10-foot pole. Only one of those women would I actually want them to get close because they're actually attractive. The other two, you can keep them. I don't know. Maybe I'm too picky. I don't know.
No. Everybody has a preference in what they like, whether it be movies, TV shows, books, music, or the opposite sex.
Yeah, very true. Very true indeed.
And yeah, as isn't wrong. Just gonna say that.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, I I I don't know if you heard this, but did you hear what Elizabeth Olsen said about her Scarlet Witch character? Uh, uh, not not in WandaVision, but in all the Marvel movies prior. They sexualized her too much. She didn't
No,
like that they sexualized her character, and I'm thinking
I
sexual.
I didn't find her
Sexualized.
sexualized.
I'm thinking, honey, you were far from sexualized. Sure, you're an attractive woman, yes, but you were far from sexualized. Like, make that outfit much skimpier, and then we can talk about you being a sexualized character.
Make it more
But,
true to the comic book.
well, but, that would require them actually being like, yeah, we should probably, stick to how the comics have this person. We can't do that. Too sexualized, show too much breast, too much skin, too much female figure. Wait, so you're saying you don't want her to look hot and attractive? No, that's not what we're saying. 'Cause that's exactly what it sounds like.
That is exactly what it sounds like.
It's like there is nothing wrong with showing off the female figure. You can wear very attractive very attractive attire that does not sexualize you. When I see a movie and I see a woman in a beautiful evening gown, I'm not thinking, God, they really sexualize her. I'm thinking that's a hot ass looking woman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not thinking, damn, they really sexualized her. Because name me one evening gown that does not show off the female form in its purest. The curves, the legs, the shoulder, everything that men usually like about a woman's figure or a part of the body, an evening gown typically will show off minimum one of those at least.
Well, take a look at Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns as Selena Kyle Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
when she said meow, yeah, meow. All right, it worked. I got you to laugh.
No, I'm just trying to hold off saying a comment. I'm just trying to hold off.
And as bad as the movie was, Halle Berry did look pretty great in that Catwoman costume. I'm just gonna say it.
I never saw that one. I actually never had a desire. I never had a desire to watch that movie, like ever.
It was on TV one day, and I caught a part of it, and
Um, you're better than me because there's no way in God's green earth that I want to watch that, even if it's hey, look, it's on TV. Next channel.
anyways, back to the subject matter at hand. I know we tend to go off topic here, but Pop Talk, it's like that. It goes off topic a lot.
We probably more. I mean, go back like one or two pop talks when I was having all that audio trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times did we go back to that photo of Alice Eve?
A few times.
A few times, yeah. And we lingered, by the way. We lingered.
Okay, well,
I mean, I'm not
guilty
going
as
to deny
charged.
it.
Guilty as charged.
Oh please, you were. I didn't have to pull your leg. You willingly did it.
Yes, that voice in my head was saying, "Do it." And I was going, "Yes, my master."
You put this up, and then all you hear in your voice says, "Good, good."
Exactly.
Oh Lord have mercy.
Well, get back to this article, and don't worry,
Yeah.
we probably will get off topic again. I could probably not even have to guarantee that. I can promise you that. All right, it says, well, not normal. She then emits over behind the back shot of Walters in her She-Hulk form, clad in an MCU-fied version of her classic purple and white costume. Yeah, well, like I said, I blame Star Trek for me liking green women. Next, Walters is seen conversing with Mark Ruffalo's Professor Hulk, who explains to his female counterpart, well, they're cousins, that their emerald transformations are triggered by anger and fear. It says, finally, the teaser ends on a shot of Walters and another man, possibly Bruce, in
No,
what almost
that's
appears to
Bruce.
be a retro-themed
That's
commercial. Yeah, it
yeah.
is.
Of course, I don't know why he kind of reminds me of freaking Bob
I'm thinking,
Ross, because he's got like the fro hair. He's got like
no,
the.
I was thinking Seth Rogen.
I mean, you say Seth Rogen, I say Bob Ross. Tomato at this point.
Yeah, let's call the whole thing off.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm a man, possibly Bruce, and what almost appears to be a retro-themed commercial wherein the series star utters her cousin's famous line, "Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry." I don't know. I might. It says, it's clear from the above footage that Disney and Marvel opted to go with, oh come on. You're giving her a nickname now? Shulky's classic appearance to show for the show rather than the Jason Aaron created Savage She-Hulk look, and undoubtedly welcome decision amongst both longtime and new Marvel fans. I don't know, that version of She-Hulk I'm not too crazy about.
That version's way too mannish.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, if it wasn't for the long hair and the certain feminine features in the face, you could have told me that was a dude, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, I could see that.
You could have told me that was Hulk with long hair.
The face would have still given it away.
All right, so it says, according to a brief synopsis provided by Marvel, She-Hulk will be a comedy series which follows Jennifer, a lawyer who specializes in superhuman-oriented legal cases, and will welcome a host of Marvel characters to the series, including the Hulk, played by Mark Ruffalo, and the Abomination, played by Tim Roth. Okay.
Wait.
Says,
Abomination. The same Abomination that from the Hulk movie with what was his name? Was it Ed Norton?
that's what I'm thinking of.
I mean, that's the only time we've ever seen Abomination. So
Yeah. Okay. It says, headed to Disney Plus in 2022. She-Hulk will be written and executive produced by Jessica Gale and directed by executive producer Kat Corio and Anu Valia. What do you make of this first look at the Disney Plus She-Hulk series? Let us know your thoughts on social media, yada yada yada. Well, the backside is nice.
yeah, I mean, just from the little bit we see her as Hulk, which is quite literally just her backside. I mean, they definitely kept the female figure on her. Granted, I don't know how much, and again, this is just stating this. So, but I don't know how much of a chest she has, because from if you look from all my seeings of when I have looked online of She-Hulk, she's a very busty character. So
Well endowed.
now, yeah, very well endowed. Now, am I saying that's like a deal breaker? No.
No.
I'm just curious, but they obviously got a very attractive woman, because I mean, you look at her when she's in that like athletic thing, and you're like, Okay, they definitely got the the curves and everything. They definitely got the nice female form there. So I'm
Hmm.
curious to see though. Like, I'm curious to see how much of the Hulk side we're actually gonna see.
I think we're not going to see that much of it.
Which is sad because it's like, oh yeah, we got this movie. It's a or it's a series, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like, well, it's a series, okay, but it's about the Hulk. I would expect her to go Hulk like at least once an episode, maybe twice, you know. But if you're not, I again, She Hulk is not nowhere near as well known as the Hulk.
Mm-mm.
It's just a plain fact. So you're with with them doing She-Hulk, you're shrinking the audience that's going to be interested in it. Like same with the whole Moon Knight they're doing with Oscar Isaac, with the whole Moon Knight. Nobody knows who the hell Moon Knight is unless you are that deep enough into the comics to where you actually know who the hell he is.
Mm-hmm.
So again, what good does it do to have these shows if they're not about the main characters that
It
we
does
have
you
been
absolutely
introduced
no
to?
good.
Exactly.
And Godzilla there brings up a good point too. They should make her stuck as She-Hulk and do the Office style lawyer comedy.
Yeah, where she is like, she's stuck as She-Hulk, and that's how she walks around. She's, kind of like how Banner was in the
Hmm.
where he's, that's how he was. And, you know, which I thought was just stupid because they were going for the whole Professor Hulk, which I do believe was a comic run. It was called like Professor Hulk or something like that. I mean, I get that, but I think you should have waited until I think that could have been a series, the whole Professor Hulk thing, where he's finally got the best of both worlds. He's finally come to peace with the Hulk and he has the best of both worlds. I don't think you should have just interjected that in Endgame. I don't think you should have personally.
No.
You know, I mean, now that would have been great because imagine him. He's now Professor Hulk. You have a new series, and in Professor Hulk, it opens with him. You see him how he is in Endgame because he's finally, and now he's having to live and adjust to life, being basically the Hulk and Bruce Banner at the exact same time, and literally. Now you can open it up into She-Hulk from then. Because remember, aside from the last Hulk movie we got with Edward Norton, we have not gotten another Hulk movie. The Hulk has been very much a side character,
Hmm.
very much a side character in all of the Marvel movies. Why? If everyone likes this version of the Hulk the best, why not give him his own movie?
I think it has something to do with the rights that Universal has.
Wait, but does Universal still have those rights?
I don't know when they come up because I would think they would lose those rights after a certain amount of time of not making another Hulk movie.
Because I know Universal did have certain rights and everything. I know because there's Universal and then there was Sony. That was the whole thing with Spider-Man. That was a big thing with Spider-Man was the whole Sony thing. With Universal, when Disney bought Marvel, I remember there was a big thing because in Florida at Islands of Adventure they have the whole Marvel area. They have Spider-Man. They have the Hulk. They have multiple Marvel themed rides. And there was a big
Hmm.
thing where Disney said, okay, you keep your Marvel section. That's fine. But you cannot build any new Marvel rides. Whatever you got, that's it. That was like an agreement between Universal and Disney that they worked out.
Oh, just
So,
like they had to work out a deal with Sony in order to have Spider-Man show up.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know who has the rights to Hulk. I thought Disney acquired them, but maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. But you know how we were talking about Star Trek earlier?
Mm-hmm.
There is some Star Trek news, and I only saw this after Wednesday's Pop Talk that I did. I wish I had seen it while I was, still live streaming it, but I figured, okay, well, I'll go ahead and do a live Pop Talk on Sunday. And the reason why that came up is because I do want to touch upon another thing real quick before I read this article, because I will be talking about games on occasion here too. Well, you know how Rockstar released the remastered definitive editions of Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas?
Mm-hmm. I heard something about that, yeah.
Yes, well, guess what they did to those of us with a PC?
Yeah, didn't it? Yeah, I heard something about uh like it updated the games or you can't play them or something like that.
We can't play them because they have to remove some files from the dev team.
That's what it was.
So here I am, as a consumer, buying a Rockstar product at $60. Not cheap for all three games. But I wanted to play all three games again, so I put down the $60 and basically got 2 days worth of playing time with the game. And I was going to stream it tonight, but I can't stream it tonight because Rockstar says that they found files within the games that shouldn't be there. Well, then maybe your quality control team should have looked over that little oversight and made sure that certain files weren't released to the public. Because I am speaking as a consumer and I am ticked off. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit that you do that to your consumer base. I mean, I'm very selective on what games I buy anymore. Someone can hype up a game as much as they want, even show me video footage of the game, but if I'm not completely sold on a game, I'm not going to buy it. I wanted to buy these games, and I did buy these games because I was feeling nostalgic, and I don't have a PS2 to play the games on anymore. And I wanted to play games that I enjoyed playing. And I actually was still enjoying playing them Thursday and even Friday before they decided, oh, we're going to do this update. Oh, and because we have files within these games that we don't want you all to see, we're going to pull them from our launcher. So you can't play these games.
That's stupid as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, somebody on console, and I can't say I blame him right now for going, haha, I still can play my copies of the games. Yes, you can. But to pull these games from another part of your consumer group, and we haven't even been told how long these games are going to be down for. That's bullshit. That's pure bullshit. Now, what am I going to do? Am I going to give them a couple of days to see if maybe the games pop back up? Possibly. But I'm really strongly leaning toward getting a refund because this isn't the product I paid for.
I mean,
So,
I don't blame you, you know. I mean, you couldn't do a simple remaster of them and just leave them as was. You had to edit stuff in them.
mm-hmm. And so far from what I've played, which, like I said, only 2 days worth. From what I played, I didn't see any changes in Grand Theft Auto 3. Now, I haven't delved into Vice City or San Andreas because I can't right now. But from what I saw in Grand Theft Auto 3, so far, what I've seen, it's still the same game. But it's absolute bullshit that Rockstar does this. And you know what? I hope they see this. Because I'm a paying customer and I'm ticked off. I'm royally ticked off right now.
Well, you got every right to be, you know? It would be like if they um you know, I'm trying to it's just so stupid. It's just
Mm-hmm.
so stupid. I mean, you know, this is why. Because so you in the game, did you get it through Steam or do you have an actual like physical copy
No,
that
they
you'd play?
they weren't selling a physical copy. I had to order it through Rockstar themselves and use their game launcher in order to play it.
Yes, and that's a big reason why I'm not a fan of buying games through like Steam or GOG or anything like that because because you're subject to stuff like that happening. Now, if you owned a physical copy of those games, well, you can play those games freely without having to worry about that, you know?
Yeah.
Because
eh,
that was the problem a lot of people had. I heard people say with Skyrim, you had the original Skyrim, and then when they did the whole remastered thing where they updated graphics and this other stuff. So people had complaints, and they're like, "Well, I'm glad I at least own the physical copy of of Skyrim because you can't find the original Skyrim copy anymore. Like if you
mm-mm.
go onto GOG or Steam or not, it's only the remastered now. So they'll do this with games, and like that's why for me, I like getting games as physical copies.
Well,
Now,
that's what I looked for when I
yeah,
knew that I wanted to buy the game. I was looking for a physical copy to purchase. None available. And even though I think it also came out on PS4, I haven't touched my PS4 for gaming in months like I was before. I might fire it up every now and then to watch something through Blu-ray, but as far as gaming, I haven't really done anything with my PS4. Well, you know what I'm going to take this as? A learning experience. Don't let this happen again.
hmm
And, that is my advice to anyone else who suffered this too. I mean, yeah, it's very minute compared to a lot of things going on in the world right now. But if you're like me and you purchase this game because you'd rather play it on your PC instead of console, and you only got maybe 1 day out of it, 2 days out of it, well, then you have every right to be pissed off. And you
yeah,
should get your money back. Whether they give you your money back, that's another question.
yeah. You know, there's a lot of people that aren't happy about a lot of stuff gaming wise. I mean, I was just watching the YouTuber It's a Gundam. I was just literally
Hmm.
watching his stream he did earlier today, and him and some friends they were playing the new Battlefield 2024, and
Hmm.
the entire time they're like, "This game's a piece of shit." Because they got rid of a lot of stuff that you typically would find in Battlefield games. Um, you know, even on um, EFAP yesterday. I can't remember which one of the three was saying it, but they got an early copy of 2024, like
Hmm.
something you get if you're like a game review or something like that, and they're
Yeah.
playing it. And they're like, this game's fucking terrible because they got
Well,
rid of like operators, they got rid of this, they got rid of that, they changed this, they changed that, and they're like, this just sucks.
it's because, and yes, someone's also going to say, well, then why'd you buy a remastered game? Because my next thought is, all they're doing is a remaster of a previously released game. But as I've said before, I don't have the PS2 to play my original copies on anymore. So I felt, well, instead of trying to find a refurbished PS2 that's being sold for $200 as I've seen, or trying to get a new one that's being sold for even more than that, why don't I just buy these excuse me, definitive editions and relive some of the glory days of Grand Theft Auto?
Right.
Well, there's also another saying that comes to mind too. There's a sucker born every minute. Well, then call me a sucker for getting sucked into buying this game. And that's all I've got to say about it, because I can go on all night about it, but that's not really why we're here to talk. So, according to the Hollywood Reporter, there's a Star Trek movie that's been pushed back, and of course, the Transformers Rise of the Beast movie has been pushed back on Paramount. I didn't even know that there was another Star Trek movie in development.
I mean, there was the last Star Trek news movie. Okay, the last Star Trek movie news I heard. Well, two different ones. Tarantino was fighting really hard to make a standalone Star Trek movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one was the whole Star Trek, the fourth movie that would have involved, oh God, what's his face? The
Chris
guy who
Hemsworth?
Chris Hemsworth, kind of like bringing like everything full circle and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
it would involve like time travel. There was news on that several months ago. That was the last two things I heard, but all the news basically said was, yeah, neither one of these things is going to be happening, either anytime soon or maybe ever. That was last I heard, and that was months ago. So if there's anything new, I'm going to be shocked.
Yeah. Well, it says Rise of the Beast has been pushed back a year to 2023, while the next installment in the Trek franchise shifts back 6 months to December 2023. It says Paramount is pushing back two of its tentpoles. Transformers Rise of the Beast has moved back a year and will now bow June 9th, 2023. It previously was stated for June 24th, 2022. The film from Cree 2 director Stephen Cable Jr. stars Anthony Ramos and Dominique Fishback. Set in the 90s, the globe-trotting property is nearing the end of principal photography, with locations shown in the film including Brooklyn, New York, and Peru. Entertainment One, Hasbro's entertainment studio, is executive producing. Skydance is co-financing and executive producing. It says the decision to make the major date changes comes as newly installed Paramount CEO Brian Robbins takes control of the studio's pipeline. Earlier this year, Cable unveiled his vision for his Transformers film, which is inspired by the popular 1990s Beast Wars property. There are different breeds of Transformers. In our particular film, they are prehistoric animals who travel through time and space, and we find them here on Earth. Well, in the Beast Wars CGI animated series, the Maximals and Predacons were descendants of the Autobots and Decepticons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, this is where they're taking the premise of Beast Wars and trying to bring it modern day, which I don't like. I think if you were going to do this, it should be entirely done just like that. It should be done, film it in remote locations. Because here's the thing, to do it like that means because when you bring it modern day, you force humanity into it.
Mm-hmm.
You force them into it. Now, if you're talking OG Transformers, well, that's one thing because humanity was involved, was caught in the middle between this war. But
Mm-hmm.
in Beast Wars, humanity was never in the picture, not even, primitive humans, even. So the fact,
Well, the fact that they're doing this tells me that they have no confidence in the Beast Wars portion of Transformers being able to attract the regular people.
mhm,
People who are familiar with Transformers lore, and that lore goes beyond Generation 1. It goes into Beast Wars, it goes into the Japanese series, Super God Master Force, Victory, and Headmasters, along with several others. But people who are familiar with Transformers lore, they know the Beast Wars story. Now, they know that in Beast Wars in Season 3, they officially connected the dots between G1 and Beast Wars by, having their season opening episode be where Optimus Primal takes the spark of Optimus Prime and gets optimized. And, a few other connections to the G1 series. But, take what that series did and try to do it in movie form, is what I'm trying to get at.
mhm.
So it then goes on to say in this article, meanwhile, the mysterious next Star Trek film has moved to December 2022. Well, December 22nd, 2023. And you know what film originally had that release date?
Mm, you're gonna have to jog my memory because I'm kind of going mentally blank.
Well, it would involve a franchise where we were talking about it earlier. You know, Alice Eve, and we saw Heather Graham, and talk about her, talk about Heather Thomas and Heather Locklear. Do it.
I mean, all you're just talking
The
about at this
next,
point are hot chicks. I mean, okay, you're gonna have to build me a much broader bridge than
all right,
that.
Leia in the bikini, Return of the Jedi.
Okay, you're still on this hot chick thing. I need a
Well,
little bit
what?
more right now. Right now, all you're making me do is be like, "Damn, just want to start looking at pics of hot chicks right now."
Well, I'm trying to keep. I'm trying to keep you above water. I'm trying to get all that muck out of there. Basically, there's supposed to be a Star Wars movie that was originally slated to come out in 2023 on December 22nd.
Okay.
Yeah. So Star Trek movie will now be in that place. It says that this movie, which hasn't even begun filming yet, it says it is unknown who will star in the film, or if Chris Pine, who played Captain Kirk in 3 films from 2009 to 2016, or any of his crew will be back. The Trek film hails from WandaVision director Matt Shackman, with Josh Friedman and Cameron Squires rewriting the script from Lindsay Beer and Geneva Robertson Duarte, or Duarte. I don't know. I'm taking a shot here, folks. Trek has not appeared on the big screen since 2016 Star Trek Beyond, which underperformed at the box office but has been alive and well on Paramount Plus, with Star Trek Discovery and numerous other spin offs streaming. As has been the case since 2009, J.J. Abrams is producing the new Trek film. So let me ask you this, Patriot.
Mm-hmm.
How many slips, strips, or bars of gold press platinum do you want to wager that this next Star Trek movie will have something to do with Star Trek Discovery?
Oh, that's a toughie. That's tough because the problem is that with Discovery, if you were still in the 20, what were they in? Were they in the 22nd or the 20? No, they were in the
23rd
23rd
century.
century. If they're in the 23rd century, I'd say you could easily do something. But because now you moved into the 32nd, 31st, 33rd, somewhere in the 30, in between the 30th and the 40th century, because you have gone there now, there is so much that the show has not even begun to explore or open up or even remotely begin to explain. They have not explained anything, by the way. We know nothing about the Romulans, the Klingons. We know nothing. We know practically nothing. So I don't know if it would be Discovery because I just I mean, honestly, I feel like in a way, putting this in a news article is going to have people asking loads of questions, wanting immediate answers.
Well, it just makes you look at it and go, okay, we've heard you say this before, Paramount, that Star Trek movies could have come out. First, it was Star Trek 4, then it was the Quentin Tarantino movie. And, speaking of Star Trek 4, there was supposed to be a female director for Star Trek 4 before everything fell apart. So now
Mm-hmm.
you're saying there's going to be yet another Star Trek film, yet you're not giving us any details of where or when or what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
So it has a quote here saying, "Where we go with the franchise next theatrically is crucial to the health of the overall franchise," Robbins told The Hollywood Reporter in October. "There's no doubt that big theatrical movies are the beacon that ignite franchises. We're in it, and I don't really have anything to say because I'm waiting for the development to be delivered. I can't wait to get going on it. We're not there yet, but we need to get there soon." Well, then why talk about it if you're not there yet?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you want to, grab interest of an investor or potential directors or actors, but why are you talking about something that more than likely, just like Section 31 and other Star Trek spinoffs that'll be announced and then we never see them, won't come to fruition?
Yeah. To be honest, the first time you should be announcing a Trek movie, considering we've had many, because you're right, it was Star Trek 4, it was going to be the final one that was going to supposedly have Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pine in it, involve time travel, and somehow either said everything right or he gets to be his dad. Details were never fully clear. There was speculation as to what the plot would be. That was 4, and then Tarantino news came out. Then the next news we got is that Star Trek 4. There was more talk that the Star Trek 4 movie might actually be getting off the ground potentially, and then that was quashed. And then there was another news after that about again Tarantino pushing hard again for wanting to do a Trek movie, and then that was it. That was the last time I heard anything, and a this is a while back. So if you're going to announce anything Trek, you should already have a, a basic plot, like a paragraph or two worth of just a synopsis plot. You should already have your cast, and you should say filming is set to begin in this month in this year. Do not announce any Trek movies until you get to that point, because Trek fans are tired of hearing this news of a new Trek movie, because we just hear the bouncing back and forth between Tarantino and Star Trek 4.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, you know, one idea that I thought could have worked if executed correctly was the idea that came out in the early 2000s of them doing a movie after Nemesis that would have had characters from various series.
I mean, the problem is what do you do after Nemesis?
Well, that's why you need to have a TV series that takes place sometime after Nemesis, because one of the things I've always said, whether it's when I'm on with other people playing Star Trek Online or just talking to people in general, is I want to find out what is the aftermath of the Dominion War. What's the Alpha Quadrant like? What's the Beta Quadrant like? You know, Gamma Quadrant, everything. I want to find out, how did the war change, the quadrants.
Well, that's when
And
Nemesis would have been good, by the way, because that takes
yeah,
place like what, 5 years, something like that, after the Dominion War.
yeah.
So no, and I agree with you. I think we should have gotten a movie, and a long movie. I'm talking like between 2 and 2.5 hours, a well done, good amounts of action, but not too much to where it's like, some people call it a Star Wars in Star Trek kind of thing. But um, no, I think that would have been very interesting to see, because remember, you got the dynamics of the Romulans and the Klingons too,
Mm-hmm.
because you have Martok, because you have Martok now is the
Chancellor.
Chancellor, and then the Romulans were very heavily decimated after that, after the war. So,
And also with what Shinzon did. So
uh, but the Shinzon thing wouldn't have even had to happen, is what I'm saying. Like, if Nemesis
yeah.
didn't happen, you could have had something happen covering that.
But even so, if you wanted to take what happened in Nemesis, you could take that relationship between the Federation and Romulus and see how either their relationship improved, where maybe they weren't allies, but at least they were on better speaking terms.
Yeah.
I'm
Although,
not. I'm not
unfortunately,
saying you make the Romulans completely good. I'm just saying you have it where at least the Federation and Romulus will talk. Now, not everybody's gonna agree, and you should show that. But you know, several balls were dropped when it came to the Star Trek franchise. And I guess that's my biggest gripe, is that I wanted to keep moving forward to see the aftermath of the Dominion War. You know, we don't have to really catch up with the crew of Deep Space Nine right away. You can wait for a later season of a new series to say, well, so and so from Deep Space Nine is here, or even just make a passing mention of Deep Space Nine if it was relevant to the story. Because we know that Janeway became admiral, but if you want to look at the Voyager side of things, what happened to the rest of the crew? And don't
yeah.
tell
I
me
mean,
we know what happened with 7 and 9. That's not 7 and 9. That's not the 7 and 9
yeah,
that we knew in Voyager.
it's not. It's not. The only one that we know for sure anything happened to is Janeway. She became an admiral, because we saw that in the beginning of Nemesis. Because Picard says, Admiral Janeway.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing we know. We don't know what happened to Tom. We don't know what happened to Tom and Belena. We don't know what happened to Seven and Chakotay. Tuvok we know nothing about. Kim we know nothing about. You
Yeah,
know,
did Terry Kim finally get that promotion? He
yeah,
well
that he
deserved.
yes, after 7 seasons. So we don't know what happened with all that. There's Voyager left a lot of possibilities because it went through the Delta Quadrant, and like, okay, even Neelix, we had he finds more of his species on that asteroid, and he's like, yeah, I'll be a Federation ambassador to here, because I have contacts, I'm very friendly, I can talk, I can be a diplomat and everything. So it's like there's so many possibilities after Voyager,
Mm-hmm.
and Voyager arrives after the Dominion War.
Yeah. So how did the crew of Voyager adjust to an Alpha Quadrant that was completely different
Mm-hmm.
by the time they came back?
Yeah, so many possibilities. What happens with the Delta Quadrant? Voyager has all this technology, all this data, everything. Did warp drive technology advance? Did they ever actually study heavily the quantum slipstream drive and
Mm-hmm.
actually, get it working properly? Did what about the advanced weaponry? All this stuff, maybe Starfleet, does research into augmenting Borg their ships with some Borg technology like Seven did with like the Delta Flyer. What happened was the Delta Flyer discovered to be, holy crap, this is like the new runabout.
Mm-hmm.
A ship that's very combat capable, good survivability, atmospheric capable, and it's smaller than a runabout, but it can do everything a runabout. It's like there's so much there.
Well, I mean, they could even study Voyager's records of doing the transwarp test along with the quantum slipstream drive and maybe come up with a new drive system that is faster than normal warp drive. Yes, it would take years, but you know,
Well, I mean, again, because Discovery is technically canon, again, alternate universe, but still, I know. But if you if you think about it like that, quantum slipstream drive was something that was in existence even in the 31st, 32nd, whatever century that is, and
Mhm.
possibly even way before that. Although again, Discovery really fucks up the whole thing with, especially season 3, with the whole Starfleet as we see it in terms of a time traveling entity in Voyager. So I mean, again, it just poses. Oh God, talk about fucking shit up with season 3.
Yep.
Talk about fucking shit up.
All right. Well, there were a couple of other articles I did want to talk about tonight. And this other one is Star Trek related. We don't have to delve on this one too long, but it just makes me go, yeah, this is fixed. And I do want to say to anyone who happens to like Discovery or Star Trek Prodigy, well, good on you. Good on you. I don't,
Yeah,
but I'm not going to hold that against you.
yeah. I'm not gonna hold that against you either. Like,
Because according to this article from the Hollywood Reporter, it came out last week, Star Trek Prodigy was renewed for a second season. And the thing about this Patriot is that they've only aired 3 episodes of their first season. Renewed.
yeah, which again, you don't know if well, I mean, again, from the rough numbers that we estimate when it comes to Discovery, we know it wasn't a big hit.
No, no.
We
Even when
know
it
that
aired on
already.
CBS,
Oh,
it
it
didn't do
got
well.
terrible numbers.
So it says the future of Star Trek Prodigy has been solidified. Paramount Plus has handed out a speedy renewal for the animated kids show that was originally developed for Nickelodeon. The series, which premiered October 28th, had what the streamer is calling the top performing premiere day out of any originally animated kids series on the platform. Paramount Plus, like other streamers, does not release specific viewership data, which they should.
Yeah, but that would require Disney to do the same thing too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's just like YouTube analytics. You can't really trust them.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
And it says Prodigy was the brainchild of Star Trek Captain. Really? Star Trek Captain? No, he's more like a crewman. A crewman you want to shove out of the airlock. But anyways, it was the brainchild of Alex Kurtzman, whose intention with the series was to bring in new fans of the franchise at a young age while creating content that appeals to everyone in the family. Let's see. What series grabbed my attention at a young age? And it wasn't animated. Oh yeah, that was the original series.
Mm-hmm.
I was 7 years old when I started to get interested into the original series. It was Next Generation that got me hooked. But the original series started it all. All right. So it goes on to say Prodigy marks the return of Kate Mulgrew as Catherine Janeway in a bid to appeal to Trekkie parents who may be watching the show with their children. Yes, but even her holographic representation is wearing the wrong com badge.
You
She's
really think that
wearing.
matters to these people?
Yeah, I know it doesn't matter, but I'm nitpicking here. I'm doing my job as a fan. I'm nitpicking.
Hey, keep nitpicking.
It's like if I'm watching a football game or a baseball game, more baseball than football. If I see the players do something stupid on the field, I'm gonna say to myself, I might even say out loud, "Why the hell did you do that? You don't do that in this situation."
Mm-hmm.
Says in an interview pegged to Prodigy's launch, Paramount Pictures CEO Brian Robbins, who originally bought the show for Nickelodeon and continues to program kids content for the streamer, outlined plans for how the animated kids show could pave the way for a new feature film chapter in the Star Trek universe. Does that relate to our previous article where possibly it'll be an animated Star Trek film? I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. It says, while the series only launched October 28th, Robbins and Kurtzman are already developing other such ideas connected to the world of the show. As a kids and family focused version of Prodigy that includes a feature film designed to bow theatrically, as well as other live action features that could live alongside the Paramount Pictures' J.J. Abrams produced mystery Star Trek movie. Well, let's see. Secret Hideout and Bad Robot are one and the same. So I don't know. I'm leaning, and I'm probably wrong, and I have no insiders because I don't work in Hollywood. But I'm leaning that the next Star Trek feature we see in December of 2023 will be the animated film. They haven't announced it yet because they're only starting work on it. That's my hunch.
And it's a damn good hunch.
It says we're working on several fronts, and obviously Alex is the key for the franchise on Paramount Plus. JJ has been the keeper of the franchise on the film side. We hope that as a company that what we do, what's right for the franchise altogether. Robbins told The Hollywood Reporter last month. Prodigy is the fifth show in the Kurtzman Star Trek universe and joins Picard adult focused animated entry, Lower Decks. Oh, yeah, more like juvenile. Flagship Discovery. No, there's only one flagship lady, and she's the Enterprise. And the upcoming Strange New Worlds, and I'm not talking about the Strange New Worlds Enterprise. I'm talking about the original NCC 1701. No bloody A, B, C, or D. But it says the upcoming Strange New Worlds at Paramount Plus, the exclusive home of the franchise, brothers Kevin and Dan Hageman, Hotel Transylvania, the Lego Movie, Creative Prodigy, which targets kids 6 to 11 and follows a group of lawless teens searching for adventure. Prodigy is from CBS Animation Productions and the recently launched animation arm of CBS Studios, Nickelodeon Animation Studios, Kurtzman's Secret Hideout, and Roddenberry Entertainment. Executive producers include Kurtzman, Heather Caden, Aaron Bayers, Kitty Kent, Rod Roddenberry, and Trevor Worroth, and the Heyman brothers, and Ben Hibbon also executive produced. And I want to touch up on something that someone I was talking to on Friday even hinted at, was the fact that they believe, and I don't think they're wrong in this at all, that Rod Roddenberry is only there to have the Roddenberry name in the credits. So people see, oh, there's a Roddenberry producing this, so it must be good. That was their take on it. And I don't see any fault in it. It says new episodes of Prodigy will continue to stream weekly through November 18th, which marks the mid-season finale. The series returns January 6th with the second half of season 1. The 10-episode second part of the season will debut later next year at a date to be determined. Well, you know why they're taking a hiatus? Because the bestest ever is coming back on Thursday.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
I know, you're probably thinking to yourself, Pacific, I am going to kill you after the show.
I mean, the thought did occur to me briefly.
Well, let me guess. You started sharpening your blades, and your Klingon blood started boiling.
I'll let you take a random guess as to what. I'll just let you I'll let your mind mull over it. Keep you in a constant state of panic.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I won't just tell you what I'm going to do. I'll show you what I'm going to do. All right. Let's take this off. There you go. There you go. Can't be mad at me now, can you? I mean, yeah, you can, but really. Really. So, how do you feel now? Still angry?
It glitched on me, so I didn't actually see anything.
It glitched on you. It glitched on you. Okay,
Yeah,
well, I don't
I got
mind.
the whole. Well, okay. I mean, what? You gonna walk her right in front of me and just be like, and just have her basically be like, "Hey, big boy, let's see. I wonder if I can."
His computer can't handle it. Your computer can't handle it, dude.
Apparently, it can't.
Even your computer's like, "Ooh,
Again, unless these women are promising me a year of endless pleasure each, then no. Even then, I don't know, because it'd be like, okay, it's only a year. What happens after a year? I get nothing. I'm still, no. Sorry, you're gonna have to do better than that.
Okay, I guess it's glorious battle then. One of us will end up in Core.
It's okay. This we shall not forgive.
Nor forget. That's still one of my favorite parts of Way the
Oh
Warrior.
God, I fucking love that, where he's like, "You have sided against us in battle, and this we do not forgive. No forget." And of course, he does the whole. It's the eyes. It's like, because he looks up. It's like, because when he's looking down, the hair is kind of coming down, but when he looks up, it's the eyes.
Yep.
You know what I want to do? I want to. I want to blow that up so it's like a whole window size, and then just whenever somebody comes up to knock on the door, just be like, just pop that up and yell, "Today is a good day to die." Like, have it blaring in Klingon. You hear the kids, "Ah, ah," then you shut the blinds.
Or, you know what? On your channel, if somebody gives you a thumbs down, you can have that image pop up on screen and play the soundbite. You have sided against us in battle. For this, we do not forgive or forget.
I might actually have to find that for my channel. I might actually have to see if I can get that actual little clip, because if you, it's too short to get copyright on.
Yeah,
it's way too short. I gotta see if I might have to do some audio cutting. I'll see what I can do, but.
All right, so I do have another article I wanted to talk about. Maybe this one won't make your brain hurt. I can't promise anything.
It's throbbing right now, so unless it's gonna be like, yeah.
Well, this is out of Bounty in the Comics. It was just released today. So yes, there is a pop culture story where it's actually today's date instead of 2 days ago, or almost a week. But Aaron Sorkin says he has no argument with Netflix and Ted Sarandos for giving Dave Chappelle a platform.
Okay.
And then it goes on to say the West Wing creator Aaron Sorkin recently disclosed that while he may have some reservations regarding Dave Chappelle's controversial new special, he has no argument with Netflix and Ted Sarandos for putting it on their platform. It goes on to say, in order to contextualize Sorkin's comments regarding Netflix and CEO Ted Sarandos, it is relevant to mention that Sorkin recently received some backlash for casting Javier Bardem to play late actor Desi Arnaz in the upcoming biographical drama based on his relationship with the late Lucille Ball, being the Ricardos. Written and directed by Sorkin, the controversy around the film was mainly based upon the fact that he cast a Spanish actor, Bardem, to play a Cuban American, Arnaz, a casting discrepancy which unsurprisingly caused issue amongst the easily offended. Goes on to say Sorkin gave his comments on Chappelle and Netflix while speaking on the above backlash during a recent interview with The Hollywood Reporter's Lacey Rose, asked to draw some parallels between the era of staunch anti-communist Joseph McCarthy in Hollywood and today's cancel culture, the auteur creator told Rose there are parallels. Obviously, the House Un-American Activities Committee, Joe McCarthy and Roy Cohen, had the force of the government behind them. They could lock people up. Until he told the Hollywood Reporter, it says, going on to use the controversy involving Dave Chappelle's recent Netflix special, The Closer. Rose somewhat jokingly added, well, here's the power that Twitter has, in a sentiment with Sorkin, which Sorkin found himself in agreement with. No, I know what you're saying, but the bad guys during the blacklist, it wasn't just Joe McCarthy and Roy Cohen, asserted Sorkin. Joe McCarthy and Roy Cohen would have been powerless if it wasn't for the other committee whose job it was. If the network wants to hire me on a television series, it was their job to tell the network whether that was okay. Whether a guy who owned a couple of supermarkets on Long Island was going to be okay with the network advertising their product during my show. He added, if the studio heads and network heads had told these groups to take a walk and just not listen to them, everything would have been fine. Explaining why he brought up the comedian's latest controversy, Sorkin said, and so for instance, if we're to talk about Dave Chappelle for a moment, I certainly could make a rebuttal argument against a number of points that he makes in his special, but I have absolutely no argument with Netflix and Ted Sarandos for putting it on their platform. What we need are people to say no to, and that's what Twitter is. Twitter is that committee that says whether or not you can abuse someone and they must be ignored. The A Few Good Men writer declared. Last month, Netflix released The Closer to a near immediate wave of backlash from members of the LGBTQ plus community who deemed the special to be transphobic. Though this was far from the first time the comedian has come under fire for making jokes that social justice warriors deemed offensive. In fact, when his previous special, Sticks and Stones, was released, Chappelle was also dragged on social media, more specifically Twitter, because they believed he was punching down on the LGBTQ plus community. During the end of his new Netflix special, the comedian recalled, when Sticks and Stones came out, a lot of people in the trans community were furious with me, and apparently they dragged me on Twitter. Before concluding, I don't give up, because Twitter is not a real place. And he's absolutely right about that. He is absolutely right that Twitter is not a real place. And as far as Aaron Sorkin saying that Twitter is the new community, no, they are not the new committee, because the people that overreact on Twitter, they're not living in an actual reality. They live in a fantasy world where they re and rah all day on Twitter.
Well, that's certainly interesting. I mean, you know, I mean, I don't know what it really does for anything, you know. Just because this person comes out and says it doesn't mean anything. Because I mean, I'm sure there is weight to be carried there. I just don't know. I don't see what that. Sorry, I got hiccups. I don't know what that weight is. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad that somebody isn't wanting to cancel Chappelle, at least from what it sounds like. But you know, at the end of the day, I don't see how that helps anything.
It doesn't.
It
That's the
doesn't.
thing.
You know, I mean, you're publishing it in the hopes of getting some goodwill.
That's all they're trying to get is goodwill. They're trying to say, see, we're publishing this saying that he shouldn't be canceled, even though we don't agree with what he said, even though we think that Twitter's, the people that we need to answer to. No. Talk to someone in real life.
Yeah.
Get to know them in real life.
Yeah, it's just stupid. It's just so stupid, and I'm like, I'm over it, to be honest with you, that whole thing, because the Netflix people went insane. Twitter went insane. Everybody who seemed to think that their voice actually mattered came out. When Let me tell you whose voices mattered: those that walked with their wallet and went and saw Chappelle and Rogan. Because
Mm-hmm.
they weren't, I guarantee you, they weren't going to see Rogan. They went there to see Chappelle.
Yeah.
And the fact he had multiple sold out venues, to me, those are the voices that matter.
Mm-hmm.
Not these green and red and purple haired people that think that just saying he or she is the equivalency of putting a gun to someone's head and threatening them or something like that. I mean, it's the people who actually like Chappelle's specials, they're the voices you should be listening to.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, those people also have regular jobs. They don't have time to be sitting around on Twitter with 100 accounts spamming all this stuff.
Or even going around YouTube and leaving comments on different YouTube pages and
Exactly.
thumbings down. Oh, and here's the thing with me. If I'm watching a video from someone I'm subscribed to and I'm just not feeling the vibe of that video, I'm not going to rant at them on Twitter. I'm not going to leave a nasty comment in their comment section on YouTube. I'll just move along. It's like, okay, I'm not feeling this video, so it's time for me to move along or, get up and do something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's that way with anything. I don't care if you're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever other forms of social media are out there and everything. If you see something you don't like, move on. Move on. I
Scroll
do
up.
that. Yeah,
Scroll up.
I do that. I do that on TikTok, because on TikTok you have the For You page, which is what the algorithm will recommend to you. And sometimes there's good stuff, sometimes there isn't. And there'll be times where I'll see vids and I'm just like, scroll. I don't block. I don't report. I don't do anything. I just keep scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do, because that is what you're supposed to do. Now, if somebody is truly putting out very, very vile comment, truly vile, I'm not talking, oh my God, this offends me. I'm talking some serious shit. Well, then that's an entirely different story. But
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, when you blow everything up, nothing is really important. You become the boy who cried wolf. Go back 20 years. You called somebody a racist. That word carried weight. That word carried weight to it. Nowadays, you call somebody a racist, people are like, oh, yeah, whatever. It's
They're not going to
lost its
listen to you.
meaning, because everything is racist now. Everything. So I'm just, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
You're like it. You're like everyone, like me. Everyone. We're
yep.
just tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Indeed.
it's not at the point where we're getting tired of it. We are tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
This has gotten old, you know. People need to learn to grow up. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest. This year, with my mom passing away, there are some things I've had to learn very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Things that, you know, I didn't really concern myself with before, but I had to figure it out very quickly. Now, on the same note, there were things that, you know, we always went over and talked about, so I was prepared for. But there were some things I had no clue what to do, so I had to get the advice from people, you know, so that I would know what are the right
Mm-hmm.
steps to do, what are the next steps to do.
Yeah. I mean, you know, life will throw you curveballs.
Mm-hmm.
How you deal with those curveballs is what's gonna either grow you or destroy you, and it's up to you.
Yeah,
You know,
you're the only one that can change it.
and the curveball could be a small or a big one.
Mm-hmm.
I yeah this yeah this old soul here is missing the time period which he thinks he was supposed to be in.
Well, Smoking Patriot, how about them Yankees?
I'm a
That's
Red
right.
Sox.
It's the 1950s, and the Smoking Patriot is driving around his big Cadillac.
Hey, you know what? I got a beautiful wife at. I'll have a beautiful wife at home. Meal cooked, come in from a hard day's work, change, help out a little bit, sit down with a nice glass of whiskey or a good beer, have dinner, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, nothing wrong
I
with that.
mean,
I always
yeah,
felt like I
yeah.
I was born in the wrong time. I always felt like I should have been born in, you know, the 1800s out in the old west. And I know life would have been hard, but
You can. Life would have been hard. I mean, the thing is, compared to today, the 50s would have been hard because
yeah,
think about it. I mean, you wanted to talk to somebody, you had to write
pick
letters
up the
because you couldn't
phone.
just pick up the phone whenever you wanted to because you get billed for how long you talked.
Yeah,
So you had to write a lot of letters or type out letters. TV was in its infancy at that time. A lot of the modern stuff that we have today they didn't even have, or if they did, it was in a much more rudimentary state. But do you know what? Life, I feel like, was also simpler because it wasn't as complex as it is today. You didn't have the internet. And yes, the internet is a beautiful thing, but it's also a very toxic place as well. And unfortunately, because the powers that be want to have their control over certain things, it makes it a more toxic environment. If you had the true free flow of information, I don't think you'd get the same level of toxicity because those toxic people would be drowned out by everyone else. But unfortunately, because you say certain things, you are censored or blocked or
mm-hmm.
just deleted from the internet, you know? And it's like, no, that again, free exchange of ideas. Anything you can say, anything that goes. The people will call you out. If you step out of line, people will call you out genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
And not because they're triggered, because you actually did fuck up.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Well, it's like, you know, I'm thinking about a quote from Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, where, you know, they're seeing the Excelsior for the first time. And, you know, Scotty isn't that impressed about the specs of the ship, and Kirk says, "No, no, Mr. Spock, Mr. Scott, young minds, fresh ideas." He's basically telling Scott to
Mm-hmm.
be a little bit more open about this idea of transwarp drive. But
Yeah.
Scotty was set in his ways. He knew how his warp drive was supposed to run, and he felt that transwarp was a big change to the game because it was supposed to be a big change to the game.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and I think that's the big thing is like, you know, I don't think people wouldn't mind. We can tolerate a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's the problem is that when those who are truly tolerant get silenced, that's when people are like, okay, you know what? That's it. We've had enough. We're done. We're checking out.
Yep. Well, I mean,
And unfortunately, the more people that check out, the worse the situation gets because you've taken out all the common sense because
look
you've
at
forced it out of the mix.
Virginia. The voters in Virginia spoke. It's like consumers of Star Trek
Mm-hmm.
and Doctor Who. They've spoken. Look at Doctor Who's ratings for this season so far. They're in the toilet.
I've heard they're abysmal. Yeah. I mean, luckily we can see Doctor Who's numbers. Now I wish we could see the same when it comes to Disney and Paramount because, with their subscriptions and the viewership and
Go ahead with your last thought. You were talking about the subscriptions and the viewership of Disney
yeah,
Plus.
yeah, that if we truly got the numbers, I don't think they'd be as high as everyone thinks that they would be. Like you'd have a core viewership, sure, but that would be it. And the core viewership wouldn't be, you'd have a core base of say maybe a million or two, but how much of that 1 to 2 million is going to want to watch WandaVision? How many of that 1 to 2 million is going to want to say, and again, I'm being probably generous with those numbers because there's so many subscription services out there. There's Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, Disney, Paramount, ABC has one. Pretty NBC might have one. There's all these subscription services. People only have so much. Only have a finite amount of money to put into these
Mm-hmm.
services. You know, so how many people are genuinely going to put the effort into wanting to pay that? The only reason why I got mine is because they were running a discount for the year long. So I got the year long. I got it back in either January or February of this year.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I got it is because that, and I'm thinking, well, okay, I can watch, maybe something will come out I want to see, and I'm like, oh, it's be nice to have it around. But if it wasn't the discounted thing, I would have never have gotten it.
Yeah.
Now I could cancel it, but they got my money, so I figure, well, I'll just keep it active for now, and then renewal time comes, get rid of it. I mean, I might keep it because I want to see what they do with the Mandalorian, but to my knowledge, I don't even think that's coming out till next year, isn't it?
It is next year, and the only thing that we have coming out at the end of the year is the Book of Boba Fett. Now, is that one show enough to pay $8 and some change
No,
each month? No.
no, no. Mandalorian. The only reason why I'd keep it is because I've spent 2 seasons in the Mandalorian, and I want to see where they go with the third season. Now that Baby Yoda's out of the picture, I want to see
Mm-hmm.
what they can do with this story because you got obviously Mandalore is gonna obviously like everyone's speculating the retake of Mandalore is the big thing. I'm curious to know how they're going to do that. So for me, the only way I'd keep it is because I want to see what the hell they're going to do with the Mandalorian. But Book of Boba Fett interests me not in the slightest. It doesn't
Or as
interest
I
me in the
like to call it,
slightest.
the Mando Father.
Yeah. I've been reading my books. Listening to my, what do the young kids call it? Oh, that's right. A podcast. A podcast. These newfangled things. I remember back in the day you had a problem with somebody. You didn't go on the internet. You looked them straight in the eye and you gave them the old knuckle sandwich. I miss those days.
I remember, Fredo. Yeah. He made the wrong choice. What happened to him? He got gunned down. That's what happened to him.
Yeah.
He deserved it too.
And if you're caught looking at the bosses, may he rest in peace. God will his soul. But when you look at the boss's woman the other way, and he don't like it, you were sleeping with the fishies in an hour.
Forget it, hell. They took you right then and there, and you're sleeping.
Yeah. And next thing you know, you're looking at Finding Nemo right in the face. And the next thing you know, you're meeting the almighty creator himself. And he's gonna say, what the flying fuck were you doing looking at the boss's woman the wrong way? Didn't I teach you better than that? Get out of my sight.
Well, it could be like Goodfellas. They beat the crap out of the guy and cut him up and have to spray the back of their trunk because of the blood.
Yeah. That was just bad for business, You don't want that news getting out. That's bad for business. You gotta be more discreet. Chopping up bodies and cleaning out trunks gets too messy. If you're gonna do it, just give him the old Tommy stick. Nice burst of the Tommy stick. That'll get the job done. Cutting people up is barbaric. What are we in here, huh? What are we, animals? No, we live in society.
Yeah, and I'll be perfectly honest. Getting back to Grand Theft Auto 3, I was having fun playing that game because I was doing voices like this. Hey, you cut me off. Oh, okay, fine. Guess what, ballet boy? Boom, you're dead. Hey, copper, leave me alone. What? I ain't doing nothing. Get away from me, copper. Flatfoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was having fun with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the thing is the pendulum's going to swing back the other way.
It's already
And when
started.
it does,
It's already starting.
In some ways, yes, but in many ways the pendulum hasn't even begun to swing back yet. In some small ways it has.
Yeah.
But it hasn't swung the other way yet in many other areas. So until you get the full pendulum swing on all fronts, hitting and starting to go back the other way, so we'll just see what happens. We'll just see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I want to be wrong and say that. I'm just gonna say, right now, our modern day, entertainment is dead. But I could be wrong. Time will tell.
I was gonna say there's something coming out, and it's actually coming out Thursday night. That
Ghostbusters.
Yes, that I am crossing my fingers, and I'm hoping that Thursday night I come out of the theater going, thank you. Thank you. Yes, I am preparing myself for that side that goes, you sons of bitches.
Yeah.
But there's that part of me that wants to be able to walk out of that movie theater Thursday night and go, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping the movie as a whole, this includes the story, and the new characters that are introduced and the way they use established characters is done well.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's the thing. Time will tell.
I mean, I could have shown it here on Pop Talk tonight, but honestly, I don't know if you're interested. I don't know if the viewers are interested. Those who watched it live, those who watch it recorded would be interested in seeing the Spider-Man No Way, the new Spider-Man movie poster. I mean, I saw it. I'm thinking, I know I'm not good at Photoshop, and I can admit that, but wow, this poster is not very good.
Yeah, I know there was the supposed leaks and stuff about, Toby Maguire and Andrew Garfield returning, supposed set shots from the set itself and everything. Whether they're true or not, I don't know, but that's honestly and the only reason why that is so prevalent is because what's his face? He's a big YouTuber, I think, or somebody big. I can't remember. They talked about it on Friday Night Tights, but basically he didn't know, he thought these were rumor pics. Like, oh, well, this is just stuff that's been photoshopped and edited. But then the studio actually contacted him in less than 24 hours and said, you gotta remove all this stuff. You gotta retract everything now.
Yeah, who
So
was your
I can't.
guest on Friday Night Tights? I
It
can't
was
remember because I didn't.
Count Dankula.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I didn't really watch it long enough to even know who was on with them because I had some other commitments.
Yeah, it was Count Dankula. He's a trip.
Yeah,
He's a trip.
and see, that's another thing. Anybody who bashes people like Doomcock or Gary or Jeremy from the Quarterine or anyone else, do you actually watch their content, or are you just you know so spiteful that you just want to harass them and give them a thumbs down, and because they happen to not like the Last Jedi, they happen to not like the current direction of Star Trek or the current direction of Star Wars.
It could be they don't flat out like them. They might think that the Force Awakens and Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker and all that is the bestest thing ever. And so they have a general bone to pick. Some of it could be just this is what they hear. So they're going in there with this already set mindset. And so it just basically they're just reinforcing what they've been told.
Yeah.
And some people are just assholes.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I know in my reviews, especially in my Chucky reviews, there are times I stutter. Well, I'm trying to improve that. I'm trying not to stutter, but what happens is I start thinking about it too much, and that's when it occurs over and over and over again because I'm thinking about it. I know myself too well, and I know once I start thinking about something, telling myself don't do it, it happens.
Yeah.
And getting back to Chucky, I'm actually enjoying the series because I'm not taking it seriously.
That's good though. I mean, you're enjoying the content for what it's, you're enjoying the content and I think you said I think you mentioned to me that you went in with an open mind, like you were hoping you would be good and whatnot, and from what I hear, what they've done with Chucky is kind of like what they've done with Cobra Kai, where
Mm-hmm.
it's just basically a flat out continuation of
Yep.
the Chucky story, basically. So,
Yeah,
which is
because
good. I mean, it's risky, but I mean, so far it sounds like they're, doing good.
so far they've connected it to the original Child's Play movie, and they've connected it to, Son of Chucky, Curse of Chucky. So it has those connections there. It has those callbacks there, but they're there for a reason. Because
Right.
these new characters don't know about the history of Charles Lee Ray and, the good guy doll being possessed by Charles Lee Ray's spirit.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I'm enjoying about it. Don Mancini, and I know it sounds like I'm kissing the guy's ass right now, but I'm giving him credit. He's done a good job with the series. Now there's 3 episodes left, so we'll see where the rest of this season goes. But from what I've seen in these first 5 episodes, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I mean, that's good news at least.
yeah. And to have Brad Dourif back as Chucky, and Chucky is Chucky. He's not holding back. He says what he says, and whether you like it, whether you don't, well, as I said in my last review, Chucky's an asshole. What do you expect?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. When you watch Chucky, you better watch Chucky knowing what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
And if you don't, well, then that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
So suck it up, Buttercup, because like when I first watched Discovery, I didn't know what I was getting into, but now, like, I'm not watching season 4, by the way. Dear God,
No,
no.
no. I'm
Um,
not reviewing. I'm going to say that right now. I am not reviewing season 4.
yeah. I don't have a Paramount subscription anymore, so I can't. And even if I did want to review it, I would have to. I would have to have a monetized YouTube account and be bringing in enough from that YouTube account to justify me going through it.
Yeah.
But I'm just I don't have the time nor the brain power nor the mental energy to want to sit through the entirety of season 4, because season 3, the way they ended season 3, should have been it.
Yeah.
You're
It's the
you're
way.
you're rebuilding the Federation. You're boldly go where no one's gone before, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't need a season 4. Should have ended at season 3. It was the perfect ending to it.
Yeah. With having Michael Burnham say, let's fly, and Discovery warp off into the distance, you're exactly right. That's how the series should have ended. And
Hmm.
it looked like a series finale.
It really
It didn't
did.
look like a season finale. It looked like a series finale.
Yeah.
At least, with Next Gen, DS9, Voyager, I can't say that so much for Enterprise. But at least with 3 of those series, we got a series finale that was proper.
Yeah. And here we haven't gotten. They keep going along and they just keep making up more story, and I feel like they're just doing it just to fill time. Kind of like when it's like that awkward silence at like a family dinner. So you just
Mm-hmm.
start talking, even though like you could be literally making incoherent babble. You're just talking just to fill the void because
Yep.
you know that's what I feel like season 4 is. It's just incoherent babble that is just being thrown in there because they have no more story. I
No.
mean, again, season 3 ended it perfectly. It ended it the way it should have been ended. You're rebuilding the Federation. Vulcans have rejoined, and you're gonna go find the other member worlds, and you're gonna try and help put the galaxy back together.
Yep.
You have a planet that is almost a limitless supply of dilithium now. You have so you've left it in a good place. let it go with dignity.
Yes.
Granted, I don't know how much dignity is there in my opinion, but still.
None. There is none. Whatever respect they could have gotten from fans, they're not getting it now because they squandered that opportunity. So I think on that note, we should go ahead and end this broadcast.
Yeah, we're going for almost 3.5 hours. Well, you've been going for we both because I jumped in maybe 10 minutes in. So yeah, we both been going for almost 3.5 hours.
I want to thank you for accepting the invitation and jumping on. I really appreciate it. And just so you know, you're always welcome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm always glad to join you whenever you allow me.
Well, like I said, you're always welcome. I always make sure to send you an invitation.
Yeah, and I come whenever I can.
Yeah.
So
that's how it should be done, you know. Send out the invitation, join whenever you can. Heck,
good times.
You may come on when I'm getting ready to sign off, and I'll say, okay, take her the rest of the way. All right, welcome to the Smoking Patriot Pop Talk. Now that we got Pacific out of the way.
Pacific, get the hell off. This is my channel now.
Speaking of someone, when have you last heard from Chaos?
Him and I, what was it? Monday or Tuesday night, I want to say. Sometime during the week, we did some War Thunder together.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, like I try not to message him because I know that he gets exhausted from work and everything, and I'm not one to just like keep bugging people with messages. So I figure people, I figure he messages me whenever he's able to, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, that's the same with me. When I send out the invitation, it's like, I'm going to go ahead and send them the link. If they see it and they want to join when I'm on, well, then they're welcome. But I'm not going to keep going, are you going to join? Are you going to join? Are you going to join? Because people have their lives. People are busy.
Yeah, that's, you're being very fair about it. Better than some creators I've known in the past who would guilt trip you if you didn't show.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Well, it's very admirable. Very, very admirable of you.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some people who I would love to have on here, but I'm also kind of afraid to ask.
Well, I mean, you know what? It never hurts to throw out the invite. If they can't make it, they can't make it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason is on them. But you at least made the effort. So it never hurts.
That's true. So until then, this has been Mike, aka Pacific414, and
Common Sense America, or on YouTube, The Smoking Patriot.
Thank you all for watching, tuning in, leaving your comments. Really appreciate it. You can follow me on Twitter at Pacific414. You can also subscribe to the Smoking Patriot YouTube channel. The link is in the description. And if you like what you saw here, give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the Pacific414 YouTube channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And until possibly Wednesday, we will see you all later.
Later, y'all.